Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Reefing Friday.
Good evening.
Doesn't Friday come round insanely quickly?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Not quick enough.
I've never felt fucking older. Anyway, Drippy, good to have you back. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, are we going through all these people's name again?
Yeah, I'm
Why
just
not?
gonna do it, Dong. I'm just gonna rip
Okay.
through them. We're just gonna absolutely smash through it. Are we ready to go?
Okay.
By the way, when
Oh,
you,
sure.
hang
If
on a
the
minute.
name is too hard to pronounce, go change your name.
Yeah. Good evening, Emma.
when you
Hi, Emma.
when
Good
you get to
evening.
the point when you get to the point where you ask Dong how he is, I'll speak then.
That works.
Good evening, Steve. Nice to see you. Johnny Boy. Hope you can stay for the whole stream tonight. He's been jumping in at the start and giving us a lot of excuses, John. So
Well,
try
he's
harder, John.
probably had
Try
his,
harder.
probably had his mate Woody round.
Oh. Good evening, Gary. That's not Gaza, is it? Is that?
No,
No.
that's another Gary.
Good evening, Gary. Good evening, James. Nice
evening,
to see
Gary.
you. How are the pasties? Good evening, Anthony. Dan. Good evening, Dan. Nice to see you.
Well done.
Who else we got here? There's a lot of chatting. Wow. And it just keeps going. Good evening, Mr. Bananarama. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Good evening, Lee. Nice to see you. Oh, everyone's chatty. Terry Techers. Good evening, Mr. Techers.
Very. Oh, tell.
Coach. Good evening, Chris. Nice to see you. Everyone's been very excited about you being on again, Dong. Just saying.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Very excited. Celebrity.
Oh,
Good evening, Mark. I hope you're well and your flow is flowing.
Favorite Mark. Thanks for the tea.
Good evening, Alicia.
Oh.
Good evening,
Sexy
Harry.
pants.
How is Rosemary? Oh, here he is.
Hello, Dave.
I mean, it's nice. It's nice with steak.
Isn't it? Good evening, Sylvester Reef. Good evening, Terry. Again, good evening. Oh, look who it is. He's got out the
Oh,
old
look out.
folks home.
Oh.
So what Rob has realised
Ugh.
is that it's illegal to lock fire escapes. So he keeps attacking the fire escapes and getting out. Unfortunately,
I mean, can't we just get rid of him somehow?
well, he keeps running out without underwear on, and obviously that's a bit of another
He's a
risk.
twat.
But anyway, well, there you go. Good evening, Gaza. Hope you're well, my man. How's your alk? Oh dear. Good evening, Reefy Reese. Hope you're well, my man.
Hello, Reese.
I think
Reece.
Johnny B. Good evening, Johnny B. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness. Are we nearly
oh
there?
wow.
Daza. Good evening, Darren. Nice
Hi,
to
Daz.
see you. I've been
Ron,
messaging you.
Ron, I
on
think your
Discord, Darren.
internet's glitchy.
Say again. Who's in dripping?
Is it me, or is Ron's internet a little bit glitchy, or is it me? It could be me. I've got preview.
Could be you, Drip.
Oh, bit of a standstill here.
Oh,
Oh.
you are.
Ronald, is it me?
It's you.
Fucking idiot. Of course
Good
it
evening,
fucking is.
Julie. Hope you and Paul are well.
Yeah,
Good
here we go
evening.
again.
Good evening, Alan. Nice to see you. Dave's Reef. Good evening. Will
Fucking-
M. All right. Miss
Will.
Barr. Good evening, Haley. Hope you're
Hi, Haley.
well. Bernadette. Hey, all you plankton people. That's a stretch. Good evening, Bernadette. Good evening, Coral Head. Is that
Corey.
is that Corey from
I think it might be, yeah.
Corey? If you're not Corey, good evening, whoever the fuck you are. Good evening, Tommy and Sharon. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness, there's so many people. Good evening, James. Nice to see you. It just keeps on going. Oh, here she is. It's the steamboat. Amanda, good evening. Amanda's an alcoholic, Dong. Just
Oh, really?
yeah. She's
We try
probably
some of this.
Yeah, she phoned earlier and said she'd soiled herself and she was hoping to get a shower before the stream. Good evening, Neil. Hope you're well.
The Reacher.
And I think. Oh, good evening, Nick and Stacey. Why does everybody just all join at the same time? Makes my life so much easier. Good evening, Nick and Stacey. Good evening, Reefer Fish. And I think. Oh, good evening, Liam. And we are done. So, Drippy, are you well? It's good to see you. You've not been on in how long?
Great timing.
Is he frozen again?
Either that or it's Elmo from Sesame Street.
Jamie, it's good to see you. Are you well?
Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, very well, very well. I've got a fish tank behind me that's running, and it's watery, and it's lovely, and it's wet. I'm loving
Is it salty?
No, not salty. No, it's got one more drain and refill with RO. Phosphate's really low anyway, and I've got a reactor ready to hook up as well, just to strip the last bit. How
low's your phosphate? What are you comfortable with, and what are you aiming for?
I was expecting it to be really high with all the dead rock in there, but I'm about 0.5 at the minute. It hasn't moved since Wednesday.
Okay.
So one more drain, one more refill. It's looking good. Yeah.
Superb. Everybody is so excited for what that tank is going to become because your scape is absolutely dynamite.
I mean,
it looks good.
If everyone was as excited as my wallet was empty, it'd be amazing. But it'll be good.
Tight bastard.
Yeah. So what salt are you going for?
Ooh, good question. Good question. I was going to dive straight in and go for the Nios stuff because I'm moving this over to Nios as well.
Okay.
So yeah, but you know what? The first fill I might just do with the cheapest salt I can get because it's going to not have much in it.
Salt, table salt.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, yeah. Just cheap stuff. Get it filled, and then obviously it's not going to have any proper livestock for weeks, months, maybe. So I just want to get the rock sort of starting to come to life and get a bit of live rock in the sump. So. Yeah.
So are you doing the whole cycle thing and then waiting for oil before you put stuff in? I'm one of these guys now that I've got so comfortable with my method and having biological blocks in all of my other tanks. I then get 3 or 4 blocks from each tank. So I've got about 60 of them now. Throw them in, and the fish go in, and then 2 or 3 days later the corals go in, and it works.
Exactly that. I'm ready to do that. Just because it is all sort of dead rock, and it's going to have all sorts of. I don't know. It's going to go through a massive ugly phase, basically. So I'm prepared to run the ugly phase with very low light levels, if any light. Just torch it through, get all my live rock and everything seeded, and try and burn it out without any nice livestock in there, really.
And you were on Steve, the East Coast Reefer stream on Wednesday, which I have still to watch the second hour, which I'll mention later on. But you said the word Stratons.
Didn't I? Yeah.
Wow.
Was it Stratton though, or was it Strap-on?
Yeah, it's Friday night. Actually,
I mean, Alyssa is in the chat. Oh, there you go.
We're not playing what's on Jamie's desk, right? So just
Linford Christie by the look of it.
No, this is the Reefers Network drippy bottle opener that we moulded off of you. Do you remember that night?
We moulded off of you.
Bit small, isn't it?
Well, you did say it was cold at the time.
Well, I did actually say the word Straton. So are you thinking about Stratons?
Boring.
I'm thinking about Stratons. Yeah.
Okay.
How many Strattons?
Well, this is it. You need 3 of them, yeah. 3 of the middle size. But I'm open to options. I'm looking. Also got Orphex at the back of my mind. I quite like the
Oh, I've been looking into them lately. Go on, Jay.
The lighting colour on them is amazing. I think value for money wise, they're really good. Really, really good.
I want to try the Reef Brights.
Did you watch the 24-hour live stream with Salem and Meckley?
Oh, yeah.
With Luca and Dong. What's the other geezer called? I want to say Tino, but it's not Tino.
No, it's not.
The old geezer, anyway. We're putting down as that.
Yeah, from the owner of Reef.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tulio.
Tulio,
Tulio, Tulio, yeah.
That was very interesting, and I ain't massive on lights. I find them quite boring, but that was very interesting.
Yep. So guess what I did last month?
Sorry, Jay, you're done.
So
Go on.
I actually changed all my LED on my frag tank to ATI T5.
Oh, right. So
all the frag tank ATI T5.
You
why?
can still get T5s.
Every single one of them. Yes.
Why is in a t-shirt?
Because I cannot afford Stratton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that the one thing that Tulio said is quite interesting. He said 1 watt is a watt. Either is from LED or from T5. So I've been doing this study over the year to see that actually how much T5, the running cost of electricity of T5 is more than LED, and actually what kind of benefit or drawback LED versus T5. So one thing that people keep talking about these days are STN, the slow tissue necrosis, but actually in many cases not really a tissue necrosis. It actually caused by the shadow of LED. So I've done an interesting experiment. The stronger the LED on top of a branching coral, I'm talking about acro. So if you are keeping zoensis, carpet anemone, it makes no difference at all. But when you're talking about a coral with a 3D structure, that's where the light becomes so important. And of course, that when we see STN, it's mostly come from Aquapora. You never see a zoensis get STN, right? So, yeah. So this is a LED light, a single point source light, right? When you shine on it, see how harsh the shadow is?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shadow actually is causing the STN from the base up of Aquapora. For a matter of fact, the more power on the LED, this is my experiment conclusion. The more power you zap on your coral, the more obvious that the STN is going to be. Actually, the STN can be so bad, it actually I lose some of the SPS, just receding from the base up. But when you look at a much larger LED, the shadow is a lot less. But even though there's still a shadow, so any LED will cast you a pretty harsh shadow. So, but this STN is not happening on T5 lit tank because that the light is coming from all direction, very mild and even. So then people will say, well, the T5 will cost a lot more electricity to run. Is it? Actually, it may not be. So, of course, it probably costs a little bit more, but is that really worth the saving? If the juice is worth squeezing. So here's the thing. We all know that LED is energy saving. That's what the industry wants you to think about. That actually, the industry is correct because that's for human lighting. So when we're lighting our own world with LED, because our human eye is really sensitive at the red and green spectrum, and LED can really focus the electricity very narrowly to produce that spectrum that is sensitive to our eyes. That is where the saving, electricity saving coming from, because that the LED only required to produce a narrow spectrum of light. But when we are using LED to light our reef, the situation is different. We are talking about a full spectrum. And the LED as different spectrum, the efficiency actually is different. So the overall efficiency I did an experiment, okay, on an 80-gallon tank, which is a footprint of 4 feet times 2 feet and 18-inch deep. Okay, so I can use one ATI sun power 6 bulb, 48-inch sun power to give it a very even blanket of light. So that costs 6 times 54. That's about 300 something, 325 something watt of electricity. To create the same effect, I need 4 Radeon XR15. 4. So the light can evenly distributed throughout the tank. If you only have 2 and there's such a harsh shadow on the side, diffuser doesn't work. I can tell you that diffuser is one of the scam. So think about it. I need to run this 4 Radeon XR15 at full power, which is 4 times 90 watt, 360. Where's the saving coming from? Right? It's fair. I think that the major reason is that we need full spectrum lighting from an LED light that designed for reef. And that actually can potentially, correct me if I'm wrong, we drop the efficiency of LED lighting dramatically. So basically, you're basically talking about the electricity saving is so minimal. And also there's another benefit for me, for myself. I use ATI dimmable sun power. 1 power cord, go to the wall socket. 4 Radeon, 4 sockets. So as any coral farmer knows, the socket is a precious commodity. You don't have enough socket. You really do not want to get an extension cord. That's a fire hazard. So the wall socket is very precious. So I pay electrician to install 8 20 amp circuit in this room, 8 of them. That is the reason is that I do not want extension cord. I want everything go straight to the wall, as much as possible. So that is why that the socket is very precious. 1 socket, take care of the thing with 1 light.
I'd really, really like you, especially with your background, to try a Stratton. I'd love you to try it. I've gone from XR30 Radians to
You've got enough money. Send him one.
And I cannot.
Oh yeah, you've some anybody.
Yeah, I'll post you one. I've seen absolutely incredible difference in coral growth and the way it's the structure of the way the coral's growing. It's not just the color and it's not just the speed at which it's growing. I can only describe when I was growing my corals under Radiance. They were growing thick and dense, which is great. But then you look at the Corals of the World book, the 3-book series, right? And you open the page at Kimbensis or something like that. And you flick through the pages, and then I look at my Kimbensis and I go, it's absolutely nothing like it. Now, after running the Stratton for 6 months, if I open that book and have a look at a Kimbensis or something like that, it's very similar. There's definitely something more natural going on with the ATI Stratton than there is with lights I have experience with in the reefing hobby.
Could that be because the spread is a big tile, isn't it? It's a big tile.
Yes, that's the point. The big tile, it makes a huge difference.
Big blanket of light.
Just like metal halide, and then metal halide is not a point source light because you normally with a gigantic refractor on with a metal halide. Basically, just like Stratton with a very big surface. So it's all about the panel on top of the coral, how big it is. So the bigger it is, actually the light physically coming from all the directions.
Yep.
If you put a diffuser on a point source light, it does not have that effect. You just make the light beam angle to spread out. You lose your power, all that kind of thing. It does not help you to minimize the shadow. So the Stratton is a good. I like that design. I actually always like that design. So I think that the fundamental idea is that the light have to physically cover the whole dimension of the water surface.
And it
to let
almost does on this tank, because I was told by the man in the UK that sells these lights, you only need the medium. And I said, no, give me one that is almost like a lid for my tank, and therefore light is just coming down from the entire surface of the water.
Yes. So back many years ago, I think that isn't that Triton in Germany, and they used to have this light that covered the whole surface of the tank.
I think it
Yeah, something like that. I think that is the fundamental idea about how to light a coral tank. Is basically it's edge to edge physical lighting. So I remember there's one coral farmer in US. I don't know if he's still doing the same. He used to have a 12-inch wide tank, but with a 16-inch wide light panel on top.
They're big numbers, aren't they?
Wow.
Yeah, the light is even wider than the frag tank itself. So that's how you can get a nice structure of a coral growth. The coral grow according to the light. So and under T5, I seldom see anything that is receding from the bottom. From LED, that's happened all the time. So especially, this is used to be a PC Rainbow.
Are you changing from radians then over that system to T5s because you've personally been seeing problems with STN on the base of corals?
Yes. Yep. Especially when you have stronger light on top, the STN actually is more pronounced. So regardlessly that I just increased the par, the STN is more pronounced. So all the refraction from the side are the same. But when you have a higher contrast ratio of the top, the coral receiving the light versus the base, I think that's what causing it. So that's why that I changed all my frag tank with my coral back to ATI T5, because I have probably 10 years worth of balls sitting there. That's one good thing. The second thing is that nobody ever buy any ATI. I have so many fixtures but sitting there. So why not just use them and get better result? And then the electricity wise, the difference is maybe just one Starbucks coffee a month different. It really is minimal.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been running the T5s then? Have you started to see a difference? I assume it's going to take a while to make a difference.
Oh no, because I have tank that are always running T5. I have tank has LED only. So I also have tank that do my experiment. So because Tulio said, actually he said, what is a watt? He's been saying that for years. Have been so many years. Another thing is that when I worked with LED manufacturer many years ago, many years ago, now they're even gone. They said it's very similar. Yeah, the LED for full spectrum lighting doesn't save you that much money at all. The electricity cost is actually relatively low when you compare to T5. But of course, you save a little bit more compared to metal halide, because metal halide generates so much heat. That's a lot of electricity actually go to. But for T5 versus LED, the difference is really not that great, not that huge. And by the way, how LED generate the white light, the full spectrum white light, is by using a blue LED LED chips shining on a phosphor coating. Same technology as a T5 to generate a full spectrum light.
And not to flog a dead horse, but the other reason why I went for the Stratton is because it is literally consuming 50% of the electricity my 2X or 30s were.
Oh, really?
Yes, 50% electricity.
Wow.
No fans, completely silent. Yes.
Which in the UK is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
No fan?
Well, just electricity costs here are bonkers.
Well, here is not that much better.
Okay.
So right now, my electricity is 0 carbon footprint electricity. I'm in Massachusetts. Ahem. I'm in Concord, Massachusetts. The place where I think 250 years ago, those people beat the British out.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah, that's the origin. So everybody here in this town has been is required to learn that history. How we hide behind a tree and then shoot at the British people. So
I do that in Scotland as well, by
freedom, that kind of thing, right?
Bingo.
So the town is very progressive, so that I have a 0 carbon footprint electricity.
That's good.
Dong, what about in your facility now? When you want to move stuff between a high LED tank to one of your T5 tanks, does that not cause you issues in terms of having to start corals higher or lower and placement wise?
No. Actually, I've been moving coral left and right. I never see any difference there. I can move a coral from LED tank to a T5 tank and to T5 tank to LED tank. I don't see any difference short term. So they looks the same. Only the major difference is that under LED, there is more receding from the bottom up. So otherwise, that I showed them around. So because photon is a photon, regardless the photon is generated by LED or the photon is generated by T5 or metal halide, as long as the frequency is the same, they're the same thing.
I would guess that you've checked your par though, Dong, wouldn't you?
Oh,
when
yeah.
you LED,
Yeah, because
so
all my
Is it
par is
not-
around 200 to 350. Pretty
Right.
mild.
that was where I was going. Like Jay's just said, how do you adapt your tank around going from an LED of certain par, probably lower, into
For matter of fact, I found out that if you 200 par versus 300 par, no difference at all. That coral can adapt very easily. For matter of fact, that I look at literature is indicating for Aquapora, the par range is from 70 all the way to 450. That's the par range.
Yeah, but obviously you don't want to shock things from those extremes, do you? You've got to take that into consideration. Right?
If I move it from like 100 par to 300 par, yes, I will concern about it. But if I move it from 200 par to 350, I never see any issue with that. But with that said, Chalice is the one that have issue. Aquapora has no problem. Leather, no problem. Zoensis, no problem. Acan, no problem. Torch, absolutely no problem. But Chalice definitely have a huge problem. So Chalice tend to bleach out on the higher part.
So are you concerned with your nutrient levels if you're going from low par into high par all of a sudden? Do you adapt your nutrient levels?
I'm not totally convinced on that one.
Right.
That the par level versus nutrient level, because all my tank are high nutrient. So when Jamie was talking about your tank is 0.5 ppm of phosphate, all my tank is around 0.2 to 0.5 ppm of phosphate.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, constantly, always throughout the years.
Source, is it?
Huh?
Does anybody know who this little slag is?
Yes, unfortunately, I think we do.
He likes the beer, actually.
Right,
He?
sell him, you little twat.
He does love a beer, doesn't he?
He loves a Monster. He never stops drinking Monster.
Well, the funny thing is, I went through the whole Reeferpalooza having the odd Red Bull, and I was like, "You Americans don't drink Red Bull out here," and he was like, "I fucking love a Red Bull." And in the minute we leave the country, he's gobbling up energy drinks like they're going out of fashion.
Dong, were you just carbon dosing yourself there?
That's called the phosphate and potassium dosing.
And iron.
Yeah. Oh, and iron. Look at the label. Is that sugar? Yes. Potassium. Great. And also phosphate. Well, here we go. Why do you want to spend money to buying this phosphate and nitrate dosing? You just pour your Coke in it and done.
So Dong told me that in the green room, and I have to admit, I said, "No, you fucking don't." And he said, "Yep." I said, "No, you don't." Next, you'll be
Yes,
throwing
I do.
Sprite. And I said, "Next, you'll be putting Sprite in your tank." And he went, "Well, it's even better. It's clear."
Oh, even better. Yeah, yeah.
Jägermeister, anything.
Yeah, but for matter of fact, that but you need to watch your pH because this is highly acidic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if your alkalinity in check, that is not a problem at all. But my philosophy is that when you put something in your tank, you are trying to solve a problem. It's not just for the sake of pouring it in. That actually segue to this. What's in this bottle? Right? That
Sludge, by the look of it.
the anchovy sauce. Yeah, this is experiment we are doing right now, and we have a bunch of people, a
Do
group
you
of people
taste
actually
it?
doing this.
Do you taste these things personally before you add them to your tank?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
no.
It smells very good.
Absolutely. Of course you do. Of course. You're a
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually get the good stuff.
You can do more than that, Don. Come on.
No, too salty.
That'll put hairs on your head.
Well, but this is actually really good stuff. So, why the fish sauce? And I remember that I asked Salem a question during his live stream. Yeah, and because of that, scientific paper about fish sauce. Well, actually, it kind of makes sense for what the fish sauce contain. Well, just like single malt scotch. Yeah, it's a single. Actually, it's a double ingredient fish sauce. So basically, but before you buy this thing, you have to check the manufacturer, the description. Not all of them are created equally.
Okay.
So this is sort of like the gourmet things, and they actually fermented from anchovy and salt. The only two ingredients, and fermented for like months to a year or something like that. And then they press it and then get the juice out. So there also, of course, there's some our cheaper one. Is basically just sodium chloride mixed with some of the artificial flavor. Those things doesn't work. So basically, in this brown liquid, what we have, amino acid, and also is fish protein, fermented fish protein, probiotic, beneficial bacterial, of course, salt and water. So there's do you know that 1 gallon of aqua power, how much amino acid actually in that gallon of aqua power?
Oh, well, I spoke
Not that
to
much,
I spoke to Julian about it, and he says it's just water. It's just a joke. He sells it. Just
That's a joke, but actually, guess or how many grams of amino acid?
10 milliliters.
I'm talking about gram. You mean 10 gram?
Come on, Jay. You can work in grams, mate. From what
That
I've
is 1 gallon. 3.8 liter. 3.8 liter of that liquid. How many grams of amino acid in there?
He knows what a gram is, Dong. Don't worry.
Yeah, less than 1.
Yeah. Actually, it's better. 5 gram.
Oh.
That is 5
That's a
gram. Yeah, that basically just water.
Yeah.
But this is a much higher concentration of amino acid in there.
So I was,
So
joking about it just being water, but it turns out it almost is.
Yeah, it is almost 95% water. That's basically what it is.
bit like you, Ron.
So
Yes.
oh, by the way, this is all natural.
Unlike you,
It
Ron.
cannot be and it cannot be any natural than that. The first time, actually, when I recruiting people to do this experiment, now I have a group of people doing this. I stand in front of my LPS tank. I grab just 2 ml, pour right in, and then the first coral that respond is favia. The favia immediately, the tentacle coming out. That's very convincing. So that I do that trick to everybody. So people, okay, Then so right now Amazon is out of stock at this moment. So there is an interesting thing, a interesting side effect who that observed by myself and plus a bunch of other people is our fish. Actually, the color intensify. The yellow become more yellow. The hippo tank, the blue tank is more vibrant. This is highly unexpected. But I at the beginning, I thought that I probably need to see my eye doctor, get my eye check. But then other people said, wait, my fish color up. Then another guy said, wait, my fish color up as well. Just within 1 week of dosing. Why? I have no idea.
Oh, I was about to say, what do you attribute that to? But you don't know.
If you think about humans take capsules and supplements of fish oils and things like that for health. Is it B12? Is that fish?
No? I think it's omega-3 fatty acid.
Right. So that's obviously they say take that for health reasons to humans. It's really. Now, I've done a few things over the last couple of months where I've spoke to people like Salem at length in terms of a lot of things that attribute to human health is not too dissimilar to animal health, i.e. the fish we keep in our tank.
Yep.
So if you look at that if that is fermented anchovy, well, an anchovy is a fish. You imagine all the oils and the fatty acids, and there's no surprise really that fish health and colour is. I'm not so surprised by that, if I'm honest.
And I would hazard a guess as well that, well, what does fermentation mean? It means bacterial activity. There's a bacteria.
Yes, a fermented. Yeah.
Which is probably what the corals are feeding on, is suspended bacteria, things like that.
Oh yeah, I totally believe in that, because that I look at how this thing actually manufacture. All they do is just get the whole anchovy. They don't even clean it. They don't cut it open. They just a whole bags of anchovy pour into a barrel and add salt and close the lid and let it rot. And that is the and then all the liquid gold just dripping out.
What else is in that bottle of fermented anchovy that could be related to anything beneficial? Because obviously some ingredients will be hugely beneficial because it's not made for a reef tank, is it? It's made for grub.
No. Actually, that's a good thing. It's made for human, which means that the quality control is assured.
Yeah,
that is very important thing, because that we know that there was some kind of products on the market to allow you to ask you to ferment some kind of thing, the bacterial concoction at home. Those are not controlled, and you never know what the heck it is, and it can be quite harmful to human.
Yeah,
but this are under the regulation. They analyze it. At least that they didn't tell me what's inside, but at least it's not harmful to human. So that's a very important thing. So this thing, actually, this thing is meant for human consumption. That is better than meant for this hobby, because this hobby, many things has no control at all.
So have you? So I said Reese put a comment about he uses it in his fishing baits, right? And it could be a thing with the corals here that whatever's in that is just an attractant or a stimulant, which they react to. Maybe nothing nutritional for a coral, but something that just stimulates a polyp to open. Some amino that just elicits that response. It might not be thinking on it, but it might just think, like when you walk past a coffee shop or something and you smell coffee.
Jay, are you possibly trying to say that corals can smell?
Oh. They do have
absolutely, yeah, that's correct. That is correct.
Here we go.
The reason for that is that it's glutamic acid receptor. So what happened is that on coral, the skin, the surface, they have a glutamic acid and aspartic acid receptor. That's how they open up their polyp, is when they sense the certain amino acid in the water column associated with live prey or food. That's how they open up. Entice them to open up to capture the food. So yes, that's true. So that's what this amino acid is doing, is that entice the polyp open up. But of course that according to the paper, the study, and it also seems that coral actually grow faster. That means they not only entice the polyp to open up, they're definitely consuming it.
Well, so I read somewhere online ages ago about reefroids. You know, everyone knows reefroids. It opens up, everything responds
They,
well to
they
it.
work, by the way. Look at the size of
There's,
that.
there's the proof. Look,
They obviously don't.
but there's an ingredient as part of that suspension that is just a stimulant or just that gives a feeding response, and then the food can be ingested. So without, maybe that's got some sort of similar compound that gives that same response, and then what you could do is dose something like that and then feed your corals. Yeah, get them.
Yes, you definitely can do that. Yeah. What happened about reefroid is that the particle size, it's a mixed bag of particle size. So for LPS, maybe the polyps, the particle size is small enough for many LPS, but for SPS, I don't know. So that is why that I'm using this guy, the reef cell, which has is man-made. It has a very small particle size. Make sure you buy the small. Well, not sponsor anyway. So
I thought that would be fermented rhino tail then, or something like that. He was going to bring out.
What did you call it? Reef cell, as in CELL.
yeah, CELL.
Mr. Dong,
Yeah.
in your little bottle of potion there, have you also checked out the ingredients in the anchovy, the fermented anchovy sauce? Have you looked at any of the ingredients that also could be singled out and added to a reef tank?
Pardon? Sorry, I didn't get a question.
Are there any other ingredients on that bottle?
Mhm.
Because obviously you're dosing it to your reef tank. Was there anything else on that bottle that you think would also be a huge benefit? Obviously the fish oils, but what else is added to that bottle? What are the other ingredients?
I think it's a lot of amino acid in there, and there's some lipid. But regardless what's in there, so I've been using this for. So when was your Salem show? With Salem, that's a month ago, right?
What,
Yeah,
the 24-hour one, or when he came on?
Yeah, when he came on, and I think it's probably a little bit over a month ago. Yeah. So within a month, I do see the coral start to getting grow faster. That's true. Right. Remember, I talk about I have thousands of polyps of hammer. Now they're growing out of control.
Any negative effects, Dong?
Oh, actually, that definitely increase your nitrate, which is expected.
Right.
But that's the whole point. Because I trying to deal with this zero nitrate problem for years. I have to physically dose potassium nitrate into my tank.
Same.
Ever since, so this actually solved my nitrate issue. So it constantly keep my nitrate around 5 ppm, 2 to 5 ppm. According to the dose I'm right now I'm dosing. Of course, that I also use nitrate as a guide. So if I see the nitrate goes up beyond 10 ppm, I back off a little bit. So this definitely is a nitrate source.
That was my question. I was going to say, how are you choosing how much you dose daily? Did you just
one of mine?
Just nitrate.
Start, and where did you? So did you just start with a couple of drops, or?
Oh no, I start with 2 ml in this 125 gallon tank. Of course, it get diluted, and then I gradually increase it up to 10 ml, and more and more and more. But I test the nitrate the next morning, to see what kind of nitrate you get to, because it takes some time for the bacteria to break them down.
Yeah. So
the excess nitrate means that there's a leftover food after the coral take their share. So that is the nitrate is the source that I test. Try to dial in the dosage. As long as around 5 ppm, I'm happy.
So would you only advise someone to dose this to their tank if it is an established system?
Yes, established system. That's a very important thing.
System.
Yeah. So think about it this way: if you do not have a nitrate issue, a zero nitrate issue, and that's too low, you probably don't need it. If you have a very high phosphate issue, you probably shouldn't do it. If you have a very high nitrate issue, you shouldn't do it. this is always look at it as icing on the cake. So if you do not have an issue, a problem to resolve, don't do anything to it. Keep it as it is. You have a coral, everything, just don't do anything extra. So same thing happened to my trace element.
Shit though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if you do too much, that cake will really go downhill. You're rotten. So that is the same thing about the trace element dosing. Right now, I actually back down significantly among the trace element dosing. So right now, it just once a while.
That's very interesting because the only other person I know that's dosing that right now has just backed down. I think it was Emma in the chat. I might be wrong. Emma, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she was dosing it and she started rolling back the dosing. Yeah. It's so highly concentrated.
What is that?
Yes.
Is that?
That is Isolate MT. That's from
Ronald. You know, yes, Ronald.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that is all in one trace element.
Is that quite high in metals? Some more than others.
Oh, very high concentration.
I haven't even the top of mine yet, Ron. Have you?
No.
Well, but the thing is that if your tank is doing great, yeah, it's a hobby, right? If you're satisfied with how the coral looks, how they grow, don't do anything extra. Seriously. If you do not have a problem to solve, don't try some kind of solution. It only gets worse. So the reason I start doing this because I have a zero nitrate issue.
Do you use any of the other?
Yeah, go ahead.
Captivate, Dong. Do you use any other Captivate products?
No, I don't.
You don't. Have you tried in the past?
No.
Okay.
Because I was satisfied.
I get a wonderful. I get my coral polyps go absolutely orgasmic. You like that, Ron? For the Phytoplankton from Captivate.
That's good.
They go in.
So I'm dosing live phyto, so
careful, Don. Careful with that contamination. Careful.
I just got.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
So,
before we go any further,
that
that is one of tonight's questions. Okay. So, Baby Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Who is
sent a question for you today. Here we go. So, what thoughts on live phytoplankton, and are there negative effects from using it?
There are.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Depends on where you get it. Basically, you can assure all the phytoplankton, the live one, always contaminated with some other things. It's difficult to control.
Is Vibrio
well, okay. Here's another thing though. When we talk about Vibrio, it's not like AIDS or cancer, something like that. Yeah. So don't be too afraid of that because there is a non-pathogenic, harmless Vibrio, and there's a pathogenic version of it. If you do a test showing you have Vibrio, and you shouldn't say, "Oh my God!" No, you don't have to do that.
You do that again.
To drink some fish sauce and relax. So, so assuming all the live phytoplankton is contaminated with something, or even worse, there's unconsumed fertilizer in it. So, yes, and so that's why that be very careful where you get your phyto from. So you need to trust that guy who provide you the phyto. So I trust my source because I have a good friend who is a retired IBM engineer. My friend was sitting there doing all he cultured the phyto for me and for himself, and he do it the way it's like so scientific,
so sterile.
Oh my God! Yeah, sterile, and then all the steps, and he even have all the cultures sitting in a water bath, so they have the constant temperature.
That sounds like Todd Gardner did a chat a couple of years ago, and his processes are absolutely amazing for doing
Amazing.
it.
So
You've got
so
to be so careful.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to get any other phyto from anybody else. I've been using the phyto that grow for me for years because I trust his process. And if I want to do it myself, oh my God, that's too much for me. That's too much for me.
Could your low nitrates
Mm-hmm.
be attributed to your live phyto?
No. I actually, if I stop doing the live phyto, I still get 0 nitrate before this thing shows up.
You need
You
what
were
happened?
doing well, Drippy. You were doing well, but you know.
Yeah. So because the amount of coral I have, that's the reason. They're just consuming so much.
I think 100 chromis would solve that problem, sir.
Oh yes, yeah. And then provided that if you have 100 chromis, one of them had egg, and then all of them just gone.
No.
So that's another thing is that I seldom get new fish, and if I get a new fish, the fish need to become from some hobbyist. Is being QT for years.
For free.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, many of them are for free because that when people get out of the hobby, their fish are pets, so they do not want them to go to a pet shop. But for me, is that once a fish get into these tanks, they stay forever. There's no way I can catch any one of them out of there. So normally the normal procedure is that a guy says, "Oh, I'm out of the hobby, and here's my clownfish. I want you give it to you and provide them a permanent home." He will stay there to watch me to introduce the fish into the tank. That means the fish will stay there forever, never come out, because I cannot even try to catch them. That's another thing that I don't sell fish. If the fish get into my system, no way I can just catch them to sell them.
Just a pain in the dick.
Can I just quickly say that Telegram is in the chat, and
Yeah,
I love that geezer.
Ready to click on his name. Good evening, Jim. Good to see you. And
Yep, Jim. Hi, Jim.
Punit. Good evening, Punit. Nice to see you. And who's this little cheeky sausage?
Oh,
Amanda.
darling. How are you,
All
mate?
Amanda. Nice to see you.
That cat, the avatar of Amanda's cat, is so interesting.
It's cool, isn't
Well,
it?
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
what's
is it really a cat?
I'll tell you what's even more interesting: the fucking size of it. It is.
I think that's a lynx, right? Is that a lynx or a cat?
It's
Is that
no.
Maine
It's,
Coon?
yeah, I think it's that. Yes, it is huge.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got more questions for you, Dong.
Okay, all right.
So while we're on Baby Dave,
He's got
Okay.
another question for you.
thoughts on carbon dose. That was
Okay.
Dave talking in a baby voice, but Scottish. That was so weird. Thoughts on carbon dosing when using a carbon source and the effects on dissolved organic carbons.
Big subject.
First thing very good question. First thing first. So DOC. Talk about DOC in the water. Just like Vibrio. It's not all the DOC are bad. For matter of fact, the whole freaking ocean, the coral reef is running on DOC. That is their energy source.
Do we all have
A major part of it.
Have we all got a favorite DOC? Mine is Dr. Dre.
Yeah, can't beat a good beat. Can't beat a good beat.
Well, in terms of DOC, is if your tank has no DOC, that's not a reef tank. It's absolutely impossible. There will be all sorts of dissolved organic compound in there, unless your fish does not eat, does not poop, does not pee. Yeah, well, and also even coral themselves are producing metabolites. They release them into the water. Coral do poop and pee. They do generate DOC. So DOC in a general way is that DOC brown? Well, yes or no. So some DOC are totally transparent, and some DOC which containing nitrogen, yes, they will have some color to it. First of all, when we look at DOC, it's not all DOC is bad. Testing DOC I do not really think we are there yet. Seriously. The amount of, if you want to do a scientific test of DOC in your saltwater tank, I wish you're a billionaire. So the cost to accurately analyzing what DOC you have and also what kind of concentration they are, you probably should sell off all your coral to pay for that process. It's impossible. So if somebody come to tell me, I give you a DOC test and tell you what you have in your tank and how much DOC you have in there, what's the level, you can just run. Please, run. Because that is not true. And if somebody says, oh, give me $200, I can tell you that. Run. That is impossible. So you to give the $200 to me, I can grab a paper and say, oh yeah, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I don't even test it. Because what's the point? If I test it for $200, I probably won't even give you a correct answer. Why not I just read it from my mind and tell you what the answer is? So first of all, testing DOC give you an accurate result of the reef tank. First, is impossible in a reasonable cost. It's not possible. Second thing, it may not be necessary. So DOC, yeah, it's not all the problem with DOC. It's not all the DOC are problematic. For matter of fact, many DOCs are essential for marine life to grow. It's essential for coral. For matter of fact, your freaking amino acid is a DOC. So, and now talk about carbon dosing. So many things, carbon dosing means that you just drop organic carbon into your tank, and then let the bacteria consuming it. Hopefully, the bacteria will grow and then take your nitrate and phosphate along with it. Well, here's the thing. Why do we do carbon dosing? If you roll back to the clock, many years ago, carbon dosing actually was invented, or not even invented, was used to reduce nitrate and phosphate.
Yeah, for anaerobic bacteria.
Yep. The idea is that there's the initial thought of the carbon dosing is thinking about, oh yeah, your tank is rich in nitrogen and phosphate but low in carbon. And your limited amount of carbon is affecting the bacterial growth, and that's why the bacteria cannot take out sufficient amount of nitrogen and phosphate. But for matter of fact, that assumption is absolutely piece of shit. Wrong. So the reason why people think that is because we have a nitrate test kit, we have a phosphate test kit, but we do not have organic carbon test kit. And people just assuming we cannot test that is not there. That is one giant assumption.
How simple would it be to develop a hobby grade and affordable test for that?
First of all, it's not difficult. If you want to know the total carbon content in your tank, it's not difficult. But the problem is that it's meaningless. It doesn't tell you anything. So normally what you do is that you can basically just burn it and measure how much carbon you actually emitted as a carbon dioxide, whatever it's saying, to calculate that. But that result does not tell you anything at all. It's a meaningless exercise about that total carbon because you do not know what kind of form this carbon exists in the water. And some form of carbon, it can be uptaken by the coral, can be eaten by the coral, can be eaten by the bacterial, some form cannot. And there's so many of them. To find it out in a very detailed fashion, first is cost prohibitive. If I'm a billionaire, have a 1 million gallon tank, have an unlimited amount of resource, yes, I will want to know. But for average hobbyist, it's a waste of money and it's impractical way to do it.
Dong, would you attribute high DOC in a reef tank to coral pathogens?
Yes and no. First of all, the type high DOC does not correlate to have high coral pathogens. First of all, if high DOC, does it really correlate to the high bacterial count? That is a big question.
Which
And
is so,
then because that many, if you have a high carbon count, if the molecule may not be consumable by the bacteria. Some are not. If you have a high carbon count, but actually a high DOC count, I don't think. Well, you may establish some kind of trend. So, oh, your high DOC count may.
I mean more as like a contributing factor to coral pathogens.
Well, the thing is that it's very difficult to determine for that. So, for example, that the coral pathogen, let's just say bacterial, let alone the virus and fungi, all that kind of thing. Just talk about bacterial, just like Vibrio. So, when you have a higher organic content, potentially you might have a higher concentration of Vibrio. But the thing is that it's hard to determine unless you do a very detailed analysis, and then it may not be. For example, if you have a higher count of Vibrio, doesn't mean that you have a higher count of pathogenic Vibrio.
No, I understand that. Yes, because some Vibrio, like humans, all contain cancer cells. So I get what you're saying.
But on the other hand, some Vibrio will turn pathogenic when temperature go above 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees.
Did you hear that, Tom?
Well, funny you should mention that. So Tom did send in a question.
Must we put that up? Must we brew in the stream with something from him? Or
have you ever grown random bacteria in a bottle and added it to your tank?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the answer is very simple. I'm still alive. So, no, I didn't do it.
And Tom didn't send in that question. I decided
do not. Actually, please do not grow random bacteria in a bottle and add it to your tank, because that can kill yourself. The reason for that.
Tom? You there, Tom? You there?
Unless you have a whole laboratory, you'll be able to analyze what bacteria actually growing in there.
He hasn't got one of them. No,
he's got a garage.
Yeah, so do not do that. The reason for that is that a homegrown bacteria is uncontrollable, very difficult to control, and also it's hard to. Some of the human pathogenic bacteria are perfectly well growing in there. So of course, that when you add to your tank, the coral may get some bacteria just die, and they can, or in turn, feeding the coral have some kind of have a buffet or something like that. But the risk is so high, so high to your own health and your the people who visit you and
Tom
who
started this bacterial culture. I think the exact words he
started on his feet, didn't it? I think.
Yeah, well, he started the whole conversation. He said, "I'm going to harvest bacteria from the creases of my own body."
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Creases.
Yeah. No one else wanted any.
No.
There was no taker.
I think that if I were to do that, I look into my trash can. And also my cat litter box. That actually has
there's probably more harmful shit growing on Tom than in what's in the bin, to be honest.
I'm so sorry, Tom.
Yeah. But joking aside, it's really serious. This is a serious matter.
Really serious.
Do not grow bacterial, unknown bacterial, or whatever thing at your home.
Tom.
Especially from Tom's crevices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Creases.
That is extremely dangerous.
Tom.
And I know that there was a product being brought out to the market, like it called Critical Reef series or something like that in US.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also that is they tell you how to grow bacterial. They marketed some kind of kit and some kind of thing, and to allow you to grow bacteria at home. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That is highly dangerous.
Leave that to
and
the
can get you sick. Yeah, leave it to profession and leave it to somebody with control. Quality control.
Is it about time Dong done another shot of fermented anchovy?
So yeah,
Actually, for matter of fact, how about that?
carbon dosing.
Potassium and phosphate. Potassium
Little
dosing and
Little bit
phosphate.
of iron there, Dong. Little bit of iron.
A little bit of iron. Yeah. I should. Oh wait,
Oh wait,
idea.
oh, Dong, you have to.
No.
Dong, you've got to.
So Drippy is the biggest enabler I've ever met in my
Absolutely.
entire life. He is.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
We've got another question here. We've got this one from Gaza. Can you recommend any good books for a beginner? I have just started Everybody Poops, and I feel like I'm ready to take on something more challenging.
Everybody.
Ah. Well, since you start with that book, I would recommend Dr. Seuss. Yeah. Red fish, green fish. Oh, this fish has a car, and that fish has a scar.
Razzle.
Well,
Have you
actually,
ever heard of Razzle?
honestly, that there's many books that are very good. I prefer digital version of the book, and I have Amazon Prime, and also your local library. There are some, but another thing is that a book's a good thing. I have many books, but everybody was reading the same book, like Julian Spong's book and Charles Delberg's books, and those are pretty common.
Ron just went to reach for it, and it's not. It's a little bit out of arm shot.
Bernadette just brought me a drink. She just
All right, you little nerd. I thought you was going to
So,
reach.
They're through in the other room.
Yeah, you little worm.
The good thing about a book is that on the internet, any idiot like me can write something, and it's there. A book has been like peer reviewed and checked and referenced, and it's factual, right? You can trust it a bit more.
Just ask Google AI. Oh, they're so messed up. So when you ask Google AI or whatever AI on your phone, and you need to click on the link where those information coming from.
Yeah.
If those links are coming from somebody try to sell you something from a vendor's website, you just swipe right or swipe left and smack it, toss it, and basically that is the best. So did you see my dog? This is what my golden retriever, and for matter of fact, this is the AI version of it. That's what Meta saying my dog look like. Even get the breed wrong.
Your dog's face looks like it might have something up its arse, Dom.
So
Comes out again.
AI for this hobby, not there yet. And actually, it's poisonous. The reason for that is that it's all messed up because that it depends on where the AI pull the information is. They pull so much information from Reddit and from Reef to Reef. Oh my God. It's gone. The AI is ruined for this hobby.
AI is a bad thing for the world. No, is anyone else not infused by AI? It's just the death of all inspiration or effort.
Aside from comedy songs and comedy pictures, it's got no use.
Not for me.
I think that's even old to me now. All of it's just getting a bit because unfortunately, true comedy, true deep-rooted comedy is just dying, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. So, Dong, Gaz actually had a real question. That obviously
go ahead.
Obviously wasn't a real question because he can't read that book either.
Oh, okay. What do you consider too low in terms of alkalinity, and do swings matter? That is a very good question. And let me give you a very short answer. Normally, alkalinity swing depends on how large it is. Anywhere between 7 to 11, like the convenience store, I don't even blink an eye. It doesn't matter. Because alkalinity, DKH, is a very tiny unit. 7 DKH to 11 DKH, the difference is actually not that big. So the ocean is around 6.5 to 6.8 DKH. So what I consider is too low is somewhere below 6.5. The reason for that is that even the ocean sometimes at 6.5, but it is unlimited amount of 6.5. And if your reef tank at 6.5, that's a very limited amount of 6.5. And when after you drink a Red Bull, it becomes 6. You drink 2 shots of Red Bull, become 4. You drink 3 shots, you go to hospital, it becomes 3. So I do not consider alkalinity swing matters if it's in range. So if your alkalinity swing from 7 to 8, no problem. Who cares? If from 7 to 9, no big deal. 7 to 10 doesn't matter. 7 to 11 still in range, doesn't really matter at all. Especially when you consider how alkalinity is being utilized by coral. That will tell you the answer there. It really doesn't matter. Because alkalinity actually for coral is used as not only for building the skeleton, but also utilized as a carbon source to build their flesh. So how alkalinity works is a very complicated thing. But put it really simple, simple one.
Did you buy that frag from Ron by any chance?
Oh no, that's a piece of info that died from my experiment.
That is nasty.
It was STN so
Almost.
no, yeah, it's not worth saving, that kind of thing. So I use it as a prop. So assuming your coral is happily sitting in your tank.
Mine look happy
And
looking
then-
like
Yeah. And because in our water, the pH is around 7.8 to 8.2, that kind of range, the natural pH range. So in those kind of pH range, carbon dioxide concentration actually is really, really low, because 95% of the carbon dioxide will become bicarbonate. So what's in the ocean water, bicarbonate is predominant form of the inorganic carbon, like because that is a balance between the carbon dioxide, bicarbonate, and carbonate. That's 3 things make up your buffering system, majority. Let's keep it simple. So in the ocean, bicarbonate, aka the alkalinity that we measure, are the predominant form of the carbon dioxide in the water. We know that carbon dioxide is critical for any photosynthesis. So what the coral actually want is not bicarbonate, aka alkalinity, is carbon dioxide. But how does it obtain carbon dioxide? So the coral skin, the very thin layer of the water, will when their skin contact with the water, there will be little machinery to turn the bicarbonate, aka alkalinity, into carbon dioxide right at the surface of the skin. And this carbon dioxide will penetrate through the skin and get inside coral. That is how the coral obtain and utilize alkalinity to obtain their carbon source. So because that carbon dioxide is so minuscule, so little in the actual water. And then after the carbon dioxide get inside the coral, there's a bunch of things happening. So some of them will be, of course, they will turn into bicarbonate again, and then some of them will deliver to the algae, and then at that part, and you will biologically convert the bicarbonate back to carbon dioxide, so the algae can use the carbon dioxide. And another part is being stored, and then go through several layers in the coral, the biological control, you eventually reach the calcification pocket. So that is how the alkalinity being utilized by coral, which means, summing it up, it's a complex biological process. It's not just by simple diffusion. There is actively grab and import. So in this kind of scenario, the outside bicarbonate concentration is really not that critical, as long as it's sufficient. So when your alkalinity is 7 versus 11, the difference is very tiny. It doesn't make too much a difference there.
Surely it also must also make a difference if your DKH goes down to 6, for example.
Yeah.
And you only have 3 soft corals in your tank. That's a different danger level to a heavily stocked SPS tank in your DKH if the consumption from the corals is what I'm trying to say is so low?
It's not always the coral consumption though. It's biological.
Bacteria do that.
Will consume
Yeah.
KH as well.
Yeah, algae do that. Bacteria do that. Many of the photosynthesis organisms do that. They all require the alkalinity. With that said, soft coral, zoanthus, they all consume alkalinity for their carbon source for building their flesh and to fertilize their symbiosis algae. They do use alkalinity, but they don't have a skeleton to build. They still use alkalinity. So that is why in a reef tank, theoretically, you're going to consume more alkalinity than calcium.
Don, can you go back through all that again in case there's someone who's just joined and they're unsure?
Okay. So that means that alkalinity is actively being transported inside the coral and utilized by the coral. And that means that if you have sufficient concentration floating in the water, good enough. And when you have a higher concentration of bicarbonate, it does not kill your coral.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can I ask a question?
You nailed that one.
On the subject of alkalinity, right? So there was a thread on reef builders. Not reef builders, sorry.
Reef to reef?
The old forum. And it was all about coral farmers or hobbyists growing frags in like DKH of like 12, really, really high DKH to get faster growth, particularly on things like Euphilia, like torches and hammers, that I've managed to get my hands on, which at the time when I thought was a nice piece of coral, from a couple of torch frags from a guy that had grown them in a KH of 12 system. So they're grown really, really quick. They look good, but when I picked them up, I could literally crumble them in my hands. They were so hollow and thin and crap. Is that the effect of a higher DKH to speed up a natural growth pattern? That the skeleton structure is just shit.
Isn't it also?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because that I do look up the scientific literature about that. It highly depends on species of coral. Some species of coral grow faster under higher alkalinity. Some grow. So most of them has no difference. Some actually drop at a higher alkalinity to growth rate. But all we're talking about is just a small amount difference. It's not like day and night difference. So when you're at 12 DKH, I think probably it doesn't really make much a difference there. But the coral density become lower, it can cause by many other effects. So maybe the coral grow faster. Of course, the bone will be more brittle. But the reason the cause it to grow faster may not be the 12 DKH. Maybe is the availability of nutrient, the light.
Phosphate is known to do that with coral skeleton, isn't it?
Yes, that's a very interesting point about the phosphate. So there was experiment done. So there's a 0 phosphate. I forget exact number. Don't quote me on that. One is a no phosphate. The other one is a medium level, maybe like 0.5. The other one is higher level. They use SPS because they're fast growing SPS for the experiment. The higher phosphate one definitely grow faster, significantly faster, but result in lower bone density. That is established. So, but does phosphate interfere with the bone structure? That was a hypothesis from a paper published at 1975.
I think
which been used as a basis to sell UGFO.
Rob was 50 then, wasn't he?
I could give you a really geeky explanation, but it's Friday night and it was supposed to be funny.
Go on, Jay.
On phosphate versus calcium deposition. So in my day job,
you've lost me already, Jay.
We dose phosphate into high pressure steam boilers to eliminate calcium carbonate formation. So stop limescale basically, because phosphate disrupts the molecular structure of how scale is deposited. It forms a sludge rather than a scale, right? It's the same thing in a reef tank. Higher phosphate stops a coral depositing a skeleton in a a crystal structure. It inhibits that. That's why it's softer and crapper.
I think that your example on a boiler is correct. Okay. But we need to look into how coral SPS actually deposit its skeleton. So what happened is that the pocket at where they deposit the skeleton is biologically controlled and is isolated from the surrounding water.
Okay.
That is a major difference. So the source of phosphate to go into the skeleton, then you need to have some sort of mechanism to get the phosphate into that inner pocket. This is not a diffusion, because that the pocket that deposit the skeleton is not an open pocket to the surrounding water. Whatever water in the surrounding water probably has not that huge an impact on this pocket. The pocket that deposits skeleton also biologically controlled to have a very high pH.
Right.
So with the story continue about how they do that is that now you have this pocket. It's isolated from the surrounding water, right? So now the calcium is being transported from the surrounding water, go into this pocket. That's your calcium. And then your alkalinity, the carbonate to form the skeleton is not actually directly imported from the surrounding water. It's not all of them. Maybe like 20% of them. If you label the carbon, the carbonate outside, that's what they did. Outside in the surrounding water and look into the calcification pocket. Majority of this carbonate on this pocket actually is released from the storage inside the coral tissue. To put it a simple way, so how the phosphate to interfere with the calcification, I think it's a lot more complicated than a higher phosphate will lead to a more porous bone density. Because I think also another thing is that when we're talking about 1 ppm of phosphate, it's actually a very, very small amount of phosphate.
Yeah.
Compared to the 1 ppm in the water, in the surrounding seawater, and that phosphate can be able to reach into the calcification pocket. I don't know what kind of concentration that can be.
Yeah, the mechanism is complicated, but there is no denying that high phosphate is really bad for stony corals, right?
Depend on how high. So if there's a plenty of example that people have 1 ppm of phosphate, like the reef beef, it's probably fine. So I think that they're probably going to have more herbivore to remove the algae. That may be a more important issue, but not because of the phosphate actually be able to poison the chrysolatus of the growth. So that was a hypothesis. I remember it got debunked by scientific literature. So the more porous bone structure simply due to the faster growth under a higher phosphate environment.
I saw
Leucus
explaining this at a Macna
over
a year ago, and when I was listen, an idiot's guide to anything helps me massively. You won't be surprised to know, Dong, and I'm sure he explained it as phosphate molecules binding to. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically not allowing the pure. What was the name of it? It was not allowing the skeleton to be built purely. So those imperfections in that skeleton growth were what was allowing it to become brittle.
Well, for matter of fact, that the same company who also sell you the magical polymer that encourage only the good bacterial growth. So that is the thing. It's just I need to take it. Well, let me put it this way. So when a company is far ahead of what a scientific community can do, science, put out product that is so far in the future, and normally just swipe left, swipe right, and not even look at it. So that is very important thing. So there's so many things are aimed to sell you a product, and then they're finding some kind of rationale or lack of rationale, or there's nothing in there, then to make up some kind of story.
And then market it.
So if a professor come out and from a university, they come out and say, okay, this is my scientific study showing that this is what exactly happened. What caused the higher 1 ppm phosphate will lead to your bone density decrease to actually interfere so much with the coral growth and its biological function. Yep, I take that. If a company try to sell you something telling you that pigs can fly, yeah, that is an entirely different story.
I saw one actually. I actually saw one of them a couple of months ago because Tom got his wallet out. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, if a pig can fly, I want one too.
Tom can't fly. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, right? Because I'll get angry. But
too late, Ron.
This is why I am so against average hobbyist reefers who then become YouTube influencers, then taking a sponsorship. I'm sorry. The second you do that, I am no longer going to listen to your opinion on products.
Does Steve know that you don't listen to him anymore?
I've never listened to Steve.
Oh, right. Okay.
Love you, Steve. You know, I'm kind of joking. You're a whore, but no, I can't. If somebody says to me, "Oh, I'm a reefer," I see their tank, right, and it's absolutely stunning, and then I'm like, "Oh, so what do you run your stuff at?" 6 months down the line, he phones me and says, "Oh, I've just picked up a sponsorship with X, Y, and Z."
Mm-hmm.
You sound to me like you're desperate to name someone.
No,
You sound like you're desperate to. It's right on the tip of your tongue now. I can see it.
no.
Who are we talking about, Ronald?
You're such an enabler.
Marty.
Keep poking the bear.
I think
No.
He's very touchy tonight.
It's very important.
Very
Yeah, I think it's very important. So Ron is absolutely correct. For example, that when I try this, but I don't sell this, you can go buy it on Amazon. So
the funny thing, Dong, I wonder how many people are going to go off and try and blend their own fermented anchovies after this live stream.
Oh, by the way, there's a fancy version called the Red Boat.
Oh,
Red?
Oh yeah, the Red Boat anchovy sauce, and those taste definitely great, wonderful.
Tom's own anchovy sauce is not so great. It's very salty. It's very salty.
Oh, it is very salty because it's basically salt and anchovy. Those are two main ingredients.
I agree. That's exactly what it is.
I wouldn't trust his cheese sauce either. Just saying.
No, his macaroni is.
Well, the cheese sauce has no cheese in it.
No.
Tom's does.
Yeah, he's a cheesy man. Hope he's having a nice evening off.
Fermenting in his hot tub.
Fermented Tom. Yeah.
Oh.
Fermented onion.
Well, I think that any fermentation is not under strict laboratory standard or manufacturer standard is very dangerous. Yeah,
well,
all the fermentation basically growing all sorts of bacterial is uncontrollable.
Could this even lead to a line of, now this is going to sound right gross, but people put their hands in their tanks with shit under their nails that's been there for how long? Who knows?
Do you drip it?
Right?
Do you?
Absolutely.
His hands. Oh.
And bringing it back to the point of, I heard it loads when I first got in the hobby, and I don't hear it as much now. And I said this the other week about people wash your hands before you put them in the tank. If you've got to put them in the tank, if you ain't putting your hands in your tank, and you've been scratching your ass, picking your helmet, or whatever, right, or work somewhere, or whatever you're doing, all the shit under your nails, etc., will be, if it's been there a while, fermenting, and then it goes straight in your tank, and oh dear.
Do you know?
That is why there's a nobody should put your own hand into other people's tank. That's a very important thing.
That's just rude. It's rude.
I wouldn't let Tom put his hands in my tank ever.
I don't allow anybody to put their hand in my tank.
Would you let me do it?
Very important.
Right? When I was working in the freshwater hobby in the store, there was a customer that came in, and he was the most grubbiest, smelliest geezer in Enfield. He was disgusting.
Ronnie's there, you know.
He was adamant that to kickstart his freshwater filter, he would piss in his external filter, and then he was adamant that ammonia would start, like fish discycling and stuff. And no word of a lie, he came in a week later, and I was like, "How's your fish tank?" And he was like, "Smells of piss."
Nice.
All that came out of it. I was like,
lovely.
Yeah, brilliant.
As soon as Rob heard the word freshwater, he shouted, "Mute him, Ron."
That's because he doesn't wash. So,
Well, Rob and I were standing looking at our freshwater tank, Boo, in Finest, right? And he looked at me and I looked at him. And then we thought about just turning around and walking away. And I said, "That's quite nice." And he said, "Yeah, I'm quite drawn to that as well." And we both stared at it. And then we both turned our backs to each other and just walked away.
well, Fish Ventura's put up a thing, and Salem mentioned something the other week where one of his mates done an aquabiomics test, and he had things like, I think it was like suntan lotion, piss, other something else that was ridiculous. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, we do have another couple of questions here, so we'll.
I just saw a question that pops up about the human bacterial.
Yes.
In aquabiomic test. Sometimes I'm just wondering this kind of thing. So I used to look at a chart about the bacterial in the salt water versus bacteria not in the salt water. They're overlapping very small amount. So many of the human bacteria actually they die in salt water. So I don't know how some of the human pathogen actually show up on the biomic test. Is that due to contamination or something? I don't know. I cannot say anything about this. But there's a story about I recently learned. So you think that chicken, people talk about they related to dinosaur from a DNA testing. So recently I watched there's one report saying that the reason that the chicken's DNA associated with the dinosaur DNA, so come up with the conclusion that chicken actually is a descendant of dinosaur is because of DNA contamination.
Well, the science had a KFC before.
It's a dinosaur DNA actually get contaminated by probably somebody just ate a chicken nugget of some sort. Yeah, and then test it. Okay, yeah, now the chicken DNA and dinosaur DNA. Wow. So then, well, that actually when you're doing DNA testing, contamination is always a major concern. It's always a major concern. Yeah. And also another thing is that if I found a bacterial that related to my tooth decay in my reef tank, I don't care. Seriously. I'm not drinking that water.
I bet you would.
Yeah.
And well, I stopped siphoning the water anyway. So by the way, that many of the human pathogenic bacteria actually die in that saltwater environment. That is, well, anything doing the DNA testing, we really need to consider how controlled the environment is and how controlled the sample was collected. That's very important.
That could be said for the same for any ICP testing, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I think we're beating that horse over and over again. So, for a matter of fact, yeah, I will not do an ICP test, the consumer grade ICP test. No, that's for me. It's a waste of money. My
won't
money is very
mention-
precious.
I won't mention no names, but I
Okay.
No.
Say it.
no,
Yes, you will.
I witnessed someone taking their ICP test by putting the micron filter on the syringe and then sucking water through it backwards and then putting it back into the vial. I was like-
Who was it?
I had to explain how a filter worked.
Who was it again? Sorry, I missed the name.
No, I can't be that cruel. I can't be that cruel.
Of course you can.
No,
Come
no,
on.
I can't be that cruel.
Was it Rob?
Well, so only scenario I will do an ICP test is that I know the guy who do the test. He live about drivable distance from me, like what the Chris Mackley has with the Reef Lab. With a good laboratory and you know them, your drivable distance, yes, the result is usable. The word usable, that's the highest level I can apply to any consumer grade ICP test. The result is usable.
Mhm.
If I send my sample to some guy far away across the ocean and I only paying him $45 and he only getting about $24 or $22 because the wholesale discount, I better just spend my money to get a hamburger or get a Coke and sit back, relax, and then imagine my own ICP number. Yeah, my cobalt is 2. My copper is 10 ppb. Wow, yeah.
But
So
that
actually,
also works the other way. If you went and paid £500 for or $500 for an ICP,
Mhm.
and then took your sample like an absolute retard, it still doesn't mean anything.
Who would do that?
well, at least it mean a little bit. At least I get some of the major element right, which I can test by a solid test kit. Cost $10.
Yeah, you would.
So just people just please just stop running these ICP tests, please, because you are not getting your some meaningful data out of that.
I think ICPs have become a little bit of a comfort blanket for people. I think people send away ICPs, and when they get numbers back that they deem correct, it makes them feel better. I don't know how much of an
Placebo effect.
correct.
Yeah, just so it's much better to spend the money and go to Reef Beef and buy those.
Reef
I think,
SIBO.
placebo, exactly, and much cheaper.
Much
But for matter of fact, that I have seen so many cases. People have problem, this problem, that problem. The ICP is perfect.
I
So-
put it back a little bit as a water chemist. I've got to say, yes, in a way, one ICP is meaningless. It means naff all.
Yep.
But if you've done 10 and you've got a trend, that's valuable information.
Yes, that's true. Provided that test was done consistently.
Correct.
The machine is calibrated consistently. And
Yeah.
otherwise, because we're talking about very, very tiny amount of concentration there, that means that marginal error is gigantic. I remember that there is Tidal Garden. Tidal Garden, one of his, or is it Tidal Garden? Because that the guy who doing the water testing is day in or day out are the same person doing exactly the same. But maybe it's not Tidal Garden. Maybe he is. Maybe come from Rich Ross or something like that. Yeah, maybe, yeah, from Rich Ross. And then the same person doing the same test day in and day out, following the same protocol. And then this trend become meaningful.
I think it's a
So-
great because I could ask you, Don, what test kits, even for your fundamental parameters in your tank, i.e., alk, calcium, and magnesium.
Salifert.
But
Well-
Dan's made a good point about heavy metal contamination. I've got a very good friend, Krusty's Reef, we all know him, who had an issue with some corals he was losing. And for all the test kits we got in our drawers and stuff that we do, can't really see much. ICP showed up at quite a high level of tin consistently. So without that ICP analysis for heavy metals, we never would have known there was tin. And through the process of elimination, found the source of that tin, removed it, problem solved. But ICP detected that for him, because otherwise you would never know there was a faulty pump or a magnet that had bust. So
the tin normally come from the float glass for a new aquarium. That's a majority of tin coming from.
I think it was isolated to a pump component that had blown. It was something like that. It wasn't. It was an established aquarium that a tin appeared in. The ICP solved that one. So it has got a place. I take your point. It's not. It's not the be
but there's a very good example. The ICP solved that problem. But how many problems that people running ICP does not solve anything?
Well, I think
it is a safety blanket then.
I think you've just given an example, Jay, where it can be helpful. I think what it can lead people to do is just tinker so much with trying to get the perfect bang in the middle of the green line, when realistically, as long as it's in the green zone, listen, you'll find some people out there that have an amazing fish tank that will even run slightly higher levels of certain elements, where your ICP test that you are trusting says, no, get it back. So I think it gets on my tits when it comes back to 0.0000001 mil of this, and you must have it. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. When he says you've got to go and buy a bottle of selenium to dose 0.1 of a mil every, and like, why? And that bottle is a bottle of water.
I think that scientifically speaking, where do you draw that green line?
Yeah, exactly. That's always been my
even the scientific community cannot draw that line. And some guy from nowhere can say, I can draw that line.
Yeah. Where's the range come from?
Yeah, where the line come from? You cannot average all the ocean parameter to draw that green line. You cannot. For example, and right now that people find out that some Garnipora were living in an area that is ultra rich in iron and manganese, and near some kind of volcano, those kind of region. Those region, the line is way over there for those coral. And then you have coral maybe from certain part of Australia with the green line all over on that side. And they really know where to draw the line. And basically, there's a two major issue. One, you do not have a standard. And some people just imagine a standard out of thin air. Second thing, you don't have an accurate measurement where your level actually is without spending an insane amount of money.
I agree. I do agree with Triton, with Esam, where he says that you have to look. There are various different habitats throughout the ocean, which will obviously be at different parameters, different trace elements, etc., etc. So the idea of one answer or one blanket answer when you have corals from various different parts of the ocean and various different habitats, it's a difficult thing. And I think one thing I learned from the 24-hour live stream with Salem and Meckley is a lot of conversations that were really great inadvertently seem to be all around the mixed reef. That's what I took from a lot of that 24-hour stream. A lot of people's questions, struggles, their curiosity. A lot of it seemed to ebb and flow and skirt around this broad narrative of the mixed reef.
Yeah,
I think
I think
Paul Hughes always says that our tanks, like behind me here, mixed reefs, is like, he calls it the hanging basket of just, we've picked nice little bits from everywhere. And to bring the horticultural thing in for Ron, it is like having a flower bed, and you've got some plants that grow really well in acidic soil, echinaceous soil, whatever it's called, and then some that like alkaline soils.
Ericaceous.
Ericaceous, and we're sticking them all in the same flower bed, and then saying to someone, this is what your soil needs to be like to grow your plants.
And then you've got to chuck in flow to that equation as well.
Yeah,
it's a melting pot of something that realistically shouldn't work, but we try anyway. It's expensive. You'll have failures, you'll have successes. and we'll all carry on doing it regardless.
But there's another important thing is that corals are animals.
Yeah.
They also adapt to different environment quite rapidly too. So, for example, that's another reason I don't think you need to draw a green line somewhere, because coral do adapt. So for the one cannot adapt to the certain level, they disappear. So that is another reason I only get aquaculture coral, because those aquaculture coral is being pre-selected to be more adaptive to different environment.
Yeah.
For example, like Acropora speciosa, I think nobody be able to aquaculture it yet, because that is one species that cannot adapt, despite there's provide them whatever different environment, they cannot adapt. So that thing does not belong into the hobby. When you have a green slimer, you can basically adapt to anything, including the toilet. So that stays in the hobby. That become aquaculture. So that is another reason is that that's why when we're getting coral that aquaculture, that means that coral probably has a stronger adaptability to the artificial environment. Regardless what your green lines here or your green lines over there, doesn't matter. They can adapt.
Everything we spoke about tonight, KH and ICP and chasing numbers, the only thing you should chase is stability. That's the main thing that counts. Keep everything the same and keep it as close to that straight line as possible.
I think we've been a range.
If you
acceptable range.
If you used to take finance out of this hobby, but obviously unless you've got a lot of reefing friends wrapped around you that are willing to give you frags or you know, small colonies if they're cutting them, I think a lot of, and I'm not saying they would want to, but I think a lot of new hobbyists would have a lot more success, which would mean hopefully they'd stay in longer with biotope aquariums, because they'd have more chance of being successful at the start. And now, listen, I'm not speaking from personal experience, because I've done the whole cherry pick like everyone else, mixed reef. But in terms of success and momentum, which is obviously incredibly important, you know, everyone wants to see that they can do it, which then breeds confidence and more learning. I think biotope aquariums at a beginning for a hobbyist would be amazing, because you are then working with such a shorter page of queries, questions, troubles. The end.
I think that you have a great point about the biotope. That it definitely is easier. On top of that, how about I have a suggestion. So instead of strictly limit to a biotope, because then you have a very limited selected amount of coral that you can choose, why not keep less variety of coral?
I just need to apologize to somebody in the comments. I went to throw his comment up and I hit timeout, and it's now removed all of his comments and blocked him from the stream. I'm sorry, Liam, but to be fair, it was a comment about fresh water, so fuck you.
So I think that if we keep less species of coral in a same tank, it actually makes things simpler. For example, I have seen the collectitis, the collector syndrome, that people have like 200 something different type of a little Acropora in a tank and keep running into problem. So this thriving, that one is not happy, so he changed everything and to try to make one coral happy, and then majority of the other frags all piss off. So
that sounds familiar.
He's not here tonight.
How about we keep less than 10 species Acropora, 10 different species, but let them grow to a larger size. That is another way to do it. So for matter of fact, in this tank, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably less than 20 species on different coral in a tank behind me. So it actually makes things a lot easier. On the other hand, you do not need the same 10 years with 20 names from 20 different vendors as a collector. So I think in this hobby, we always have a collector syndrome over there? Oh, somebody disappeared.
Yeah, Drippy's gone. I don't. I didn't time him out. He just decided he quite often doesn't charge his laptop before a stream.
Oh, maybe that's what happened. Well, we continue. I think that trying.
Part of the fun of the hobby though is finding a coral that you haven't seen before, or that rare coral you've chased for years, and you find it and you have to buy it. There's always going to be a part of you that is going to have a lot of different species on your wish list, and so keeping fewer and less species is always a bit of a great idea in practice, but we all fall foul of.
It's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. So when you see something, you gotta have it, and actually that's part of the hobby too.
Yeah.
So I know a guy actually, he has 30, 40 different lightsabers.
What?
Right.
He collect lightsaber from Star Wars. Yeah.
So when he got the, hear me out here, Dong, right? So when he got the first one and he realized that lightsabers are not fucking real, what made him buy another 39?
That is what I'm wondering. So if we are collecting katanas, the real deal,
Yeah.
I can understand that. But lightsabers, for God's sake, for lightsabers, and that's not even real. But I learned a lot from him. Oh, this is a Neo Pixel. This one is RGB, and this one has take 2 seconds to zoom, and that one take 5 seconds to zoom.
Still a fucking loser.
I do not understand that, but that is a hobby. A hobby also can be fun in collection.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
People look at people at my work think I'm an absolute fish geek because they don't get it. You know, everyone's got their little thing, haven't they? You got to be into something.
But collecting live animal like coral, there always has a consequence that they die, and then it's really upsetting. So if you collect lightsaber, they don't die; they just hang in there forever. But for a coral, you have to provide them all this care, and when you're in a mixed reef and some just doesn't adjust to that particular environment and die.
That is why our hobby is superior, Dong. Because it takes a bit of this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why I'm in it then.
You haven't got to say it.
So we've got a few more questions, Dong. I want to make sure these get asked because it's members from the Discord. So Coach asked, with all of your experience in testing, what do you think the hobby needs the most to move forward? A new product, research, or tech?
A new Dong.
Good question. I think that for the hobby to move forward is always remember this is a hobby. This is something to make us happy. It's a hobby. So as a hobby, they're always a part of this art instead in additional to science. But right now, when we're looking at the hobby market, it seems like the marine or saltwater hobbyists are people loaded with money. That's how it feels from the manufacturer, from the retailers. So many of the technology and science are not moving forward. From my point of view, I'm looking at, and I will give you some example. They are not moving forward, but they're repackaging old stuff with a new advertisement slogan and try to get your money. Okay.
It does keep coming round in circles, doesn't it?
Yeah, I keep on a circle, and all the fundamental basics are the same as 15 to 20 years ago. So let me give you one example. I have a chance to look at a Gen 1 Radeon XR30 Pro. Gen 1. That is 13 years ago. Okay. I look at that thing. First thing I notice is the LED layout. What kind of LED diode they're using. Then I compare to a Radeon G6. What kind of LED diode they're using. They're almost the same. for 13 years of progress. They just changing the layout, changing the shape.
This is why
That's
I like.
basically it.
This is why I like Telegram.
Yeah, I love Telegram.
Because
Jim.
He's got bollocks, and he's willing to put them on the line for the hobbyists.
Exactly. So in terms of our LED technology, basically, well, I'm trying to say 15 years. I'm not trying to say the F word. Okay. For 15 years, there's no progress on it. Absolutely no progress. For matter of fact, at the beginning, the reef LED are basically same as the horticulture people LED, a panel, the different dial. Then the reef LED become like a point source light, a cluster, a strip, and all the way go around. Right now, they look exactly same as the horticulture people use, which does not change in 15 years.
Yeah.
The amount of LED dial 15 years ago and now for the premium LED, they're the same. There's no advancement.
A lot of people I've spoken to about lighting, especially like Radions, everyone's favourite seems to be the Gen 4. So we're on Gen 6 now. So if everyone still prefers the Gen 4 from 5-6 years ago, what does that tell you?
Well, it
tells you there's no progress. That's basically it. There's no progress.
It also tells you that marketing is a very powerful tool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because that marketing is so powerful, because that manufacturer only benefit from sales of new equipment. That is the fundamental rule of the economy about the manufacturer and the market. They manufacturer only get money from new equipment sales. And when there is no advancement in terms of technology of the core component, aka the dial itself, well, you can get a little bit more efficient, but there's no revolutionary change in the LED dials.
Or possibly the difference being from now till 15 years ago, whatever, maybe lifespan marginally in the LEDs.
You're absolutely correct about the lifespan, but I can tell you this. I'm still using LED light, the mass spec Razer light that is 12 years old. And as long as you keep the LED cool enough, and the lifespan actually pretty long. And by the way, I think that one of the, I agree with you guys that the ATI Stratton, that is what all the LED is supposed to be. It's not because it has some new technology of the dial, because it's a giant freaking panel. That's what it is. It's a freaking panel. So that freaking panel, giant freaking panel, is known by the horticulture people 15 years ago. Oh, giant freaking panels. Look at Amazon. Look at AliExpress. Look at how people use for horticulture. Giant freaking panels filled with LED. That's it. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
And also,
I ran Gen 4s, Gen 5s, and Gen 6s. Gen 4s, I had good success. Gen 5, I have to admit, is definitely my least favorite radio and light. Gen 6s, I would say, are marginally better than Gen 4s personally. But
I think this hobby, if you look at fish, corals, equipment, it is very much a journey of, if only I knew then what I know now. Do you know what I mean? In terms of looking back and reassessing what you bought, when you bought it, if you still got it, you're learning. Because I wouldn't buy, and listen, I'm not knocking anyone, not that anyone's going to take my fucking opinion, but I wouldn't spend nearly $2,000 on two XR30 Gen 6s again. Do you know what I mean? But I was influenced by someone who happened to be on YouTube, who was raving about them, who I've since now looking what I know now compared to when I first bought them. I would do a lot more box ticking, questions, and I would do my own research. And also, I know a few more people in the hobby whose opinion I would trust regarding lighting. Do you know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is a case of you get to certain points and it's if only I knew then what I knew now, sort of thing.
Also, the thing is, I think this hobby, when the technology advancing, well, actually, there's a lot of scientific study has been filtered out into the hobby, but that is a good or bad. That is, it can be a curse, it can be something else. So think about it this way: we actually encounter a lot more coral-related problem than 15 years ago. Actually, because that people are messing around with the tank, with antibiotic, with all sorts of different kind of things that may not even benefit. Because let's say this way: that's the science for coral, the understanding of the coral reef and coral biology are in infancy, and the scientific knowledge are not mature enough to being actually applied to the hobby yet. That is why that some people said, yeah, that our hobbyist is more advanced than the scientist who's studying coral. Yes and no. Yes, we are keeping coral, they cannot. That's true. But the way we're keeping coral is by art. Seriously, the art of the coral hobby is very important. We're doing a lot of things that is not actually being based on a research paper or how many bacterial we know we can count in water. No, many successful reef tanks are by art. And so that is why the way we look at the scientific community is that they're providing more and more resource for us to understanding better of our reef tank. But we have a series of practice that accumulate throughout the year as experience to be able to keep these things alive. So for matter of fact that just one analogy is that people who know how to swim, then when they jump in the water, they swim. But if you actually try to think about it, how am I going to swim? You probably get drunk. That those things are experience accumulated for something that does not require scientific analysis. That is what make us to be able to keep the coral alive. Than when in a scientific laboratory, people are not. And also that there's in scientific field, there's something say when we're studying something using a model, all the model tells you a story, but all the models are wrong because this is a complex, complicated biological system. It's not something that an ICP test can tell you the answer. No, it's not. It's not something that you can do an aquabiomic test and tell you the answer. No, it does not tell you the answer. Yes. So a very complex thing. We are being able to keep this coral alive. Actually, it's a miracle. It's based on so many years of experience. Do your water change. Do your water change. Keep your major parameter. Yeah.
I was going to mention earlier, and I forgot. You've just reminded me. There's always this. I was having this. I don't know if I was talking to Salem or Rob about it, but very.
Oh, drip.
He's gone again. So while we're waiting on him coming back,
let's go to another question.
We have so many questions in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure people understand how difficult it is to try and keep one of these things going. I can't ask every question. It's impossible. But Melinda basically threw a fit and said, I'm repeating my question, which means I ignored her the first time. What bulbs are you using in your T5 fixture?
Okay, that's a very good question. So it depends on what kind of coral you're keeping under it. So what I'm using is that actually I'm using Giesemann bulbs instead of ATI. The reason for that is that I think the Giesemann's they said their blue bulb is actually called actinic blue. I think the Giesemann actinic blue is superior to the ATI Blue Plus. That's my personal opinion. So what I use for a 6 bulb configuration, 6-ball configuration, I only use 3 blue and 1 purple and 2 actinic. That's my go-to configuration. So because that under this kind of configuration, I personally see more gradient of color from the coral. They're not too warm, not too blue. So if you have 6-ball, 4 of them are blue, a blue plus or actinic blue, that's way too blue, and you actually wash out a lot of yellow, orange, and red color out of it. Instead of using a coral plus for ATI, I will use a purple plus. And actinic ball actually fill up the low end spectrum for the coral growth, and some of the closer to UV side of spectrum, and also can give your coral more gradient of color. More popping.
I remember when I got my first ever Giesman actinic blue bulb, and I'd never seen corals that color before. They were a game changer for me. They were amazing.
Yeah. So that's why out of 6, I used 2 Giesman, 2 actinic. For matter of fact, I do believe I switched from ATI to Giesman because I do see the Giesman ball in terms of color is more superior than ATI. And ATI's actinic ball, unfortunately, I never see anything that it seems like it's not there. But the Giesman's actinic ball, I do see a difference there.
That's
We
really
can't
unfortunate,
get them in the
Melinda.
UK. We can't get them anywhere in the UK.
Yeah, Melinda's just saying she can't get them.
Oh,
either
really?
from the ATI, and you've basically said ATI are shit.
No. ATI is not shit, but well, you have no choice. But
What an advert! What an advert that was.
well, if you're talking about ATI only, I will do 3 blue plus and 1 aqua blue special, 1 purple plus, and 1 coral plus. Their ATIs are actinic. Unfortunately, for some reason, they just doesn't seem to even light up. But
Doesn't even light up. Did you just?
yes,
say
exactly. So basically, if I two ATI actinic on like the one channel, I turn it on and turn it off. The series doesn't give me too much benefit at all. It seems like it doesn't light up. Seriously. So that's why either you use 4 blue plus and 1 coral plus, 1 purple plus, or you just replace 1 blue plus with aqua blue special. But I do find out the Giesman purple, super purple, and the ATI purple plus. That's my favorite daylight bulb. I really like the purple. So the thing about the purple of T5 bulb are quite different from the purple LED bulbs. The purple LED bulb is actually at 420 nanometers, seriously, at that wavelength. But the purple bulb for T5, it basically is coral plus with a dash of red. That's where the purple is. Yes, that is how. So the purple bulb of T5 bulb is not truly a purple light. Is tricking our human eye. So that brings to a very important question. That's one thing I always tell people is that coral do not watch TV. So yes, that is why there's no reason for RGB.
Mine do.
Or there's no reason for RGB LED technology in this hobby. RGB.
My Lobo inflates when I put something raunchy on the TV.
Oh, you mean that your Lobo on the TV or the Lobo outside the TV?
No, Ron gets the Lobo, didn't he? That's what it is.
But here's the thing. If that's what you observe, it's possible that your Lobo is responding to the red spectrum of your RGB TV. That's possible. So here's the thing that once upon a time, far, far away in the galaxy, there are some idiots on the LED industry come up with RGB LED for a reef tank. They said that way you can get different of color to satisfy the coral growth. That's absolutely bullshit. Because that our human eye seeing color are quite different than what those coral actually sensing color. So the reason that we can watch LED TV or LCD TV using the RGB a very different ratio to produce different color is our psychological effect. When coral watching your TV, they only see 3 freaking dots: red, green, blue. That's it. Even though you see a purple color, that does not mean that the coral getting 420 nanometer of spectrum. You have to physically have a LED diode to generate the 420 nanometer spectrum to give the coral purple color. That's for them to function. So coral does not watch TV. RGB doesn't work on reef tank. But with that said, actually what I found out is that the red spectrum, actually coral do respond to red spectrum quite interestingly. Jake Adams, he used to did experiment. He light his Euphilia, frog spawn and hammer, I think mostly frog spawn, using the red LED only. And it works. Yeah, even though the coral doesn't look as pretty, but it works. So another thing about the red color spectrum is one of the marine biologists asked me, "You guys are nuts. Why your sunrise sunsets are blue? Sunrise sunsets are not blue.
True.
They're freaking red, orange. Why? You guys are crazy. Why you have a blue moonlight? Are you out of your mind?"
I've never thought of that before, to be fair to you.
I wonder how similar the time difference is between the invention of blue light for a reef tank and the orange glasses we look through.
The orange glass is orange glass. I don't know, but I can tell you that some guy actually come up with an idea to plaster the whole tank with orange film.
Yeah, wrap it, yeah. That's a good shout.
Yeah, so that he can turn on the blue only to look at all these popping colors.
Or you could just fill your tank with Fanta, carbon dosing.
Yeah. And there's another idea. Okay. One guy said, well, you want to watch this beautiful color, you just get a camera on top of the tank, moving around, and then the camera will do a digital processing to process your green slimer into a rainbow splice and display on the wall.
Please fuck off.
On your big TV on the wall. Wonderful. That is how useful the orange glass it is. Well, but orange glass and orange filter when taking camera is an entirely different thing. And or if you're a hobbyist wearing an orange glass, look at his tank at the sunrise, sunset, blue light, and that's called a hobby.
Yeah.
And when somebody grab an orange filter and take a photo and put on the Facebook marketplace, that's called a scam.
Yes.
Well, I think it's that whole everything that is developed by these companies that we deem reputable for our hobby. At what point are they leaning towards selling for stuff that we think we want or would want to make our tanks look better in a running alongside what the actual animals in our tanks need?
For matter of fact, that in order to entice people to buy things, and they will have influencer tell you want that, you really want that, and that is a magical solution of all your problem, and your coral will grow 100 times faster. And now go buy this CO2 scrubber and change your pH. But in reality, the true motive is the CO2 scrubber costs you a lot of money. They run out really fast for the media, so you can be on a subscription base, and that is a steady income for the vendor. That's what it is. That is, since that in this hobby, hobbyists like us being perceived as a bunch of people willing to spend big money, and also it's pretty stupid to listen to advertisement. that's where a lot of this kind of product coming from on the market. And basically, but on the other hand, talk about the positive side is that one of the great advancement for this hobby is to make some technology much inexpensive, accessible to average hobbyist. For example, when Tunza come out with the controllable wave pump,
Well done.
Tunza. And then wave pump, that technology exists about 15, 20 years ago, okay? And today, some other company to make it more affordable for the mass market, and that's I call progress. But of course, we need to credit Tunza for all this initial pioneer. That's a wonderful job. So that is, but the technology, the same technology being popular, being make more accessible, less expensive to make average hobbyist to be able to afford that, and that makes a tremendous progress for the reef keeping here. And affordability, actually, I think, yes, should be the major driving force moving forward for this hobby. Things should be affordable. For this, well, you can see that many people say, I want this hobby to grow, especially vendors. I want the hobby to grow. How do you grow the hobby? Make people more successful. So if people spending $3,000 and go home with a nano tank, and then after 3 months, everybody kick the bucket and buy, and then you lose a customer.
But then
yeah.
But then, how successful do they want to be? Because you wouldn't keep going back and buying new items.
Yeah, it's the meat for the grinder situation, isn't it? So yeah, it's
actually I look at it a different way. The upgrading path for a successful hobby is starting with a clownfish for a piece of live rock, and then upgrade to an anemone. Then the fish store can sell him an anemone, and then after that it become a bigger tank with soft coral, and then even bigger tank with LPS, and even bigger tank with SPS, and with the matching affordable equipment to go with. That is the successful progress, and that's where the money actually should be. For people that be successful at the beginning, and to be affordable at the beginning, to steadily step up to a more complex, more enjoyable hobby. So that is.
I think it also comes back to Ron's point earlier, Dong. I think find people that you deem to be honest with their findings, that they're not coerced by sponsorship or anything like that into their findings.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't want to sound too snobby, but I think our hobby, when you get to a certain level, like, for example, everyone in this chat who gives up their Friday night to watch a reefing channel is probably at the same level.
Losers.
You're not going to be swayed by a girl in a mermaid costume or an influencer.
Who could you possibly be referring to, Jay?
You know what I mean? We're not. The people that are in the hobby aren't going to be swayed by that. They're going to actually look at, what do the breeders feed their fish? What does someone else use for laying? And they'll do their research and they'll buy the good product. This is why I hate the influencer regime of like some fancy person telling you what works well. You know what I mean? It's like we all know we can see through that, and we'll ask the real professionals, we'll ask the hobbyists that we trust, and we'll ask bigger breeders that what they use, and we'll use that, you know. And
yeah, I
see even a mermaid costume, by the way, because that's his employer, isn't it?
I think affordable is very that is definitely but this time of age is that, think about 15 years ago, people go to the club meeting, say, hey, what do you use? Oh, you use a Tunza. Okay, I go get a Tunza. But these days, many people stay at home, and when they watch YouTube, and what actually being recommended to them are influencers.
Yes.
And then if they see 10 people are using whatever, then this some purple non-sulfur bacterial. Just saying, okay, not particular against anybody, and then so that is what they're exposed to. People don't have a chance, or doesn't have that much chance to go to a live meeting with a live human being and talk about, do you use that purple non-sulfur bacterial? It's like, what the f- is that? I just changed my water, and okay, now you get some kind of information from a real person, a human being, actually has something, have a good reef tank, whatever that you can see. That is the difference between today versus many years ago, and these days are online. When you're online, you actually your option is actually limited. You're limited by what YouTube want to push it to you. When you you always think that you always can see that influencer, oh, click the like button, click the subscribe, because that will make the YouTube the algorithm, whatever, and to recommend it to you. So because we have so many online instead of in person, that's what makes things quite difficult. For example, plus that the reef to reef, all these forms. And how can you tell who is actually has a true experience and who is just there? I just heard that.
To answer Salem's question, what defines the influencer? For me, it's someone who's sponsored or paid or given free shit to promote something. That's what I would define an influencer as.
But also, you're forgetting one massive thing that happens in this hobby and in life. You run the gauntlet of someone who's running on self-ego.
Yeah, and that's very true. Let me give you one example. A guy told me that he never changed water, and he has this fantastic reef tank. Well, everybody believe him, right? But that guy was doing a back flushing his sand filter occasionally. That is called water change.
Well, I think. Can you? I think there are people that can be independent with their opinions and help other brands. I do. But I think that all comes down to the individual and how they come across. Do you know what I mean? Because people will make their minds up one way or the other.
Then also that you're right. Here's one example that a YouTuber had a very good intention. So, okay, yeah, Ryan, I take sponsors, but then I'm gonna speak my mind. But can you actually do that? If you take sponsorship, you cannot speak your mind freely. That's impossible. Unless you are not even care about the sponsorship money. You are not even living on that. If you really depend on any sponsorship money, your mouth is going to be clamped by the manufacturer who sponsor you.
But then,
is
what I would say is, listen, this is something that I've stumbled across only recently or along my journey. It's on you to do your own research on who it is that you are listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell, spells. Am I back?
No.
You're there in Paris.
I have to keep trying to mute him because he gets so angry with his computer. He starts just saying all sorts of stuff.
Leave his microphone on just for a laugh.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah. On the subject of hitting like and subscribe, can everyone just for a giggle hit dislike tonight? Just a little special treat for Tom. Dislike and unsubscribe would be just dynamite.
Please fuck off.
Actually, that one thing I'm always looking forward to is that Ron, you have the Ronald McDonald. Are you going to run that thing? No.
Are you actually? Did you just actually ask me to do reefing news?
Yeah, exactly. I because every time I watch this thing, that is one of the major highlights. It's so funny.
Oh. I didn't do news tonight, Dong, because I thought.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't believe it.
I love that. I love that. And also, by the way, that song
you.
is that original?
Yes, that's completely original. I wrote it all myself. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I love that song.
Oh, I can't believe what I'm hearing. You've just made
Well-
my entire year.
You have missed it.
So, well, for the reef bullshitting,
Yes. Yes.
well, yeah, since you don't have the ad, let's do this. Witch hazel, and that is really dosing this thing is one of major bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, actually no different than dosing ethanol or rubbing alcohol. That's what it mostly is. For matter of fact, that let me tell you a story that
It smells nice, like this stuff. It smells amazing.
what is that?
Nios coral dip. Smells like witch hazel.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. Since you're talking about a coral dip, and that is a very interesting thing. Let me piss off some vendors. So all the commercial coral dip, yeah, seriously, all of them, just for fun. Well, here's the thing. For coral dip, actually, what's most effective one? Potassium chloride for your SPS.
Yep.
And iodine. Just all called the CCAM reef dip or iodine. Amazon iodine is your grocery store iodine. That's a two thing to go with. It's more than sufficient for your average hobbyist. So don't spend all this money on this tea tree oil. They actually kill some of your smooth skin coral for the tea tree oil.
That's exactly what it did to mine.
Mm-hmm.
In minutes, Dong. I took it out of the dip, swirled it, put it back in my tank. I went to go get more corals. I turned around and the skin just went like a glove.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So so coral dip, you will imagine all those research behind the coral dip, the commercial one, like the rib dip something, that guy, and any tea tree oil based product. You really think there is a huge amount of scientific research behind it? No. So it basically is all based on tea tree oil in Southeast Asia. Is being used on every freaking thing, including on your grandma's pillow. And then they just borrow that.
Also,
Huh?
It's also being treated or looking to be treated for psoriasis.
Oh, so yeah, those things have some scientific, but some antibiotic property, whatever saying, or antifungal, whatever. But those things are no place in a reef tank. Think about it this way. The Polyp Lab, which is a quite reputable company, so their coral dip actually is mostly potassium chloride, and that's pretty safe. So I only use potassium chloride and iodine, these two things. It works for me, and you should. I will highly recommend it. Don't spend your money on all this expensive commercial coral dip. Just get the cheapo potassium chloride, and also the iodine that rub on your skin, that kind of thing. That's more than sufficient. And one time I was trying one coral dip, which is clear tea tree oil. It took me such a long time to get rid of the smell out of my hand. That thing just like latching on every surface. And I try many different kind of coral dip on many different kind of coral. I can tell you that nothing beats the potassium chloride and the iodine. That basically it. Save you a lot of money. Just use that.
Interesting. So Corey, who is does he either work for NIOS, owns NIOS, or works at White Corals?
He's the brains behind a lot of the chemical.
Yeah, so he's saying that the NIOS dip is the absolute shizzle. So I do want to try.
What's in it? Well, because I never used that one. Well, what's in it?
Go on, Corey. Let us know. And
It's,
I mean,
So I'd like to ask.
I've used this quite a lot, and flatworms and everything, it just drops off. It works really, really well, and there's different concentrations, and it's the only dip I've used that actually kills Asterina starfish out of interest.
you don't want to kill them.
Chloride. And potassium chloride will knock them off corals and stuff, but it won't kill them. They always come back to life, whereas this stuff kills the fuck out of them.
Well, what's on the label?
I will tell you.
I'd love
what you're after, the actual ingredients.
dip.
It doesn't tell me.
I'd love to
Actually,
ask Corey. If
there is
level-
Oh, sorry.
There's a QR code to scan. I can have a look, but Corey's in the chat, so he'll tell us what's in it. But it is it is made up of like oils and things like that. Yeah.
So the one thing that if you want to kill your starfish and seeing the flatworm melt away, you can increase the concentration of potassium chloride. So what I found out is that the concentration that is very popular on the reef online is too dilute and dip for too long. So I use a much higher concentration of potassium chloride. I totally forgot the what exactly is the because I have a scoop and I have a container.
I was actually about to ask you, what are you running the dip at? Do you not know how?
I think that let me check. Let me look at my phone. Well, don't quote me. I think it's a 15 gram in about 16 ounce of water. That's a lot. That's very highly concentrated. But you only dip your coral for like less than 5 minutes, or as soon as it starts to slime.
Okay, so it's a less.
Yep.
less of a
Yep,
difference.
and then you can see flatworm disintegrate right in front of your eye.
You're such a slag.
Yep, yeah. As the brittle starfish just losing its leg and melt away, and Australian starfish just immobilize.
Oof.
And the good thing is that with a high concentration potassium chloride, with a short period of dip, the coral actually recovered dramatically quick.
There's what's in your NIOS.
Okay.
And
Yes.
he also said OFC, A,
Oh, there's lots of oil.
and vitamin E as well, isn't it?
To be fair, the label
it
does peel off, and there's another layer to tell you. I didn't see that. Sorry.
That's what Rama was saying. Yeah.
It is exactly what Corey's just typed. It's all there. Yeah, all the oils and stuff. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I like the transparency, Corey.
Yes.
But that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So instead of a known brown tea tree oil, God knows what's in there, but this is good.
Well, for me, it breeds
So
trust. Transparent.
yeah. So and also that this oil, a particular oil, is not like in general tea tree oil. Those are oil actually. I don't know. I don't have experience with that. So I'm more than willing to give it a try.
Can we do it live?
On the other hand,
Can we do it on the next time we get Dong on live? Can we get Dong a bottle of Plonk and get him to do it live?
And why
on the
not?
next stream?
yeah, sure. I'm more than happy to try it out. I'm open for it. Well, there's
Could we do
this is something I never. Yeah.
Dong Dips live?
Yeah.
What?
And then a
Dong-
follow-up.
Yeah, Dong Dips live.
Yeah. Just go with it, Dong.
Yeah, we could we could test dips live on air, and we could watch what happens.
What's he dipping and where's he dipping it?
His helmet and,
Audience.
and a nice bucket of Angel Delight.
Yes.
That'll get the viewers in.
Actually, I only do it. Only did my coral under full moon with 68 degree Fahrenheit. All these conditions need to be met, and also that need to have a can of soda.
So we have got another couple of questions to get into.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alisa was saying that earlier, Richard Colombo, who was in the comments, Do you deal with deformed and stunted corals grown from hobbyists that run mainly on blue light?
That's an absolutely great question. Yes. The answer is yes. So I've deal because I also consulting with different people. Consultation, go to their house within the limited distance. I'm
I
not
was
going to
about to
drive 2
say,
hours.
is that what you call it? A consultation, Dong? Really?
Yeah.
I go there and then look at their tank. I don't do water change. I don't do anything. I just look at their tank.
Moonlight.
And then to help them out to because that they many people who do that also have their maintenance company doing their maintenance. I'm not going there to do their maintenance. But I look at the setup, look at the core, look at the what they're dosing, what they're using. So yes, I've seen people at let me give you one example. There's a guy actually running only blue light because he learned from some YouTube big vendor, whatever thing. Blue light only, no white light, whatever. So I don't think the first of all, under those blue light, the coral exhibit much less color gradients. If a coral has a popping fluorescent green protein, so basically the whole tank looks very monotone. Either it's popping, damaging your eyesight, either it's gray or dark. And the coral, the structure does not, the looks different than the coral looking from the under the full spectrum light. For example, one example, Milka stylo. So the Milka stylo in that tank is a gigantic finger. Instead of branching out, that freaking thing is a mount. Basically, very snobby, big mount. So instead of under, I have the Milka stylo under regular light, the daylight, they're forming a very uniform branching colonies. But that's not always the case. Or another case, I see the same stylo, they all bought from me, from the same mother. I have a lot of Milka stylo. The guy run mostly blue light, but now this time the blue light is different. It's not blue LED. It's ATI blue plus, all blue plus. In his ATI fixture, all blue plus. So, okay. Now this Milka stylo grows a very thin branch. And the guy even called it Posalopora. I said, no, this is not Posalopora. That's the Milka stylo. So definitely under blue light, what I see is that under the ATI blue plus, the coral actually healthier because ATI blue plus is not really a blue light, only a light. ATI blue plus T5 actually containing quite a bit of full spectrum light. It's just heavy in blue. But when you're talking about a blue LED, and that is freaking blue, that is blue only. So yeah, it is. So under blue only LED, definitely the coral grows. What I can say is weird, strange.
It shows the massive resilience of that particular species, though.
Oh, but because that many, especially hard coral, and they can adapt. So the reason for that is that one of the reasons all the fluorescent protein and chromo protein exists on a coral is to change the wavelength they receive to make them suitable for photosynthesis.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one, because coral is an animal. They produce all this protein, do all this trick, try to capture light. Normally it doesn't fall into the wavelength for photosynthesis, make them usable for the symbiosis algae. But that is why the coral actually highly adaptable. So, but some of the coral is heavily, on a deeper ocean, they're only seeing blue light. That's what I heard, but I don't believe it anymore. Seriously, because now if you look at the scientific survey, look at divers. So for many of our coral collected from the ocean, and they do see quite a bit of full spectrum light. And also they see quite a bit of UV light as well. UV actually penetrate quite deep. That's one thing that looking at the literature as well as the Salem's 24-hour live stream. That's another message that putting out. And as well as if you look at the Tidal Garden has this called the reef receipt. Highly recommended to because that they were talking about reviewing some of the scientific literature. It shows that UV light actually penetrate pretty deep. So I think that the final word, the way I look at it is that under blue light only, the coral grows differently than the full spectrum. In my personal taste, it's less desirable for the coral growing at a full spectrum. Another thing is that for example, one guy came to my place and looking at all my acros, I said, it seems like the same coral that under T5, they look more, the color is more full. That's the word he used, full. The more attractive than under very narrow banded LED blue light. So I think that the answer is that I would personally prefer to grow my coral under more full spectrum, more daylight color, because I prefer it that way, and my customer actually also prefer that. Actually, recently there's one guy said, "Do you have any SPS that look good under whiter lights?" I said, "Yes, that is the right way to look at it. You should appreciate what the coral looks like under more natural condition."
That's exactly what I was saying earlier about going from Radiance to Stratton. It's
Yeah.
I think at first, when you don't get quite as much fluorescence on certain species of corals, you go, but see, first thing in the morning when you come in and you're starting to get your sunlight ramping up, the fish are so much brighter. And purple Milka stylo in particular is stunning. The difference, the difference from the purple to the white tips is there's so much more of a contrast, and I find it so much more attractive now. I am completely converted.
And
for example, that sorry, go ahead.
The whiter daylight makes the fish look incredible, and the corals less so. And the bluer tinge makes the corals look amazing, and the fish less so. So you've got to find that little.
Yeah.
And for example, the Oregon Blue Torque. The Oregon Blue Torque is the blue that you cannot. The blue is the blue, but you only be able to see under full spectrum light. Under blue LED is grayish brown.
Yeah.
And let me give you one example. A while back, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I went to a coral show. Well, by the way, I never sell coral at coral show. I go there to look and buy and to see any aquaculture species. I was looking at a guy has 2 coral. It's grayish brown because he only have the blue LED on. I said, look at the structure. Looks very familiar. I asked, how much are those 2 coral? The guy said, those 2 pieces of shit. How about $20 for both? It has no color, right? I said, sure. Just a gamble. I bought it. I get home, pop it under my T5. Guess what? The Oregon Blue Torque. Immediately is blue. Is the blue as the blue you can see for those 2 piece of shit coral. Yeah, under blue LED.
So we've got 2 more questions left from other viewers, but I have a question.
Go ahead.
And I really want to speak to you about it. So do you remember when we did your farm tour for Reef AF with Robert?
Yep.
The one thing that rung really strongly in my head after that tour was you talking about allowing your tanks to have quite a big temperature swing. Okay. So you told me what your temperature swing was, and then I decided to choose 2 numbers and allow my tank to go. So at the time, I was bouncing from 25 degrees centigrade to 25.5, and it was just going off and on with half a degree centigrade. Okay.
Yep.
I then decided within the period of a month to open that to a full degree centigrade swing. And then a following month, I decided to open up to a 2 degree centigrade
Mhm.
swing.
So,
So I am now, yeah. So I'm now bouncing from 24 degrees to 26 degrees. Now,
Mhm.
controversial, and a few people said to me, oh, well, you know, coral and fish biology starts to change at certain temperatures and things like that, right? I have never, ever seen coral growth and coloration like this in my life. The exponential growth is unbelievable. And my alkalinity consumption from the month I went from 1 degree swing to 2 degree swings has doubled.
Yep.
I went from 85 milliliters a day alkalinity, my own solution of sodium
Mhm.
carbonate, to 210 it's at now, and
Wow.
it is still rising.
So you are an avid cheerleader of swinging and bouncing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I allow them to have a 3 Fahrenheit. Is that 3 Celsius too?
No.
I'm just so ingrained with this Fahrenheit thing. So as average a 3 Fahrenheit day and night swing.
Okay, so
Right now. Yeah.
so mine is a bigger swing actually, but I cannot. But so, can you explain to me now? I'm educationally subnormal, okay, bit of a simpleton. I struggle to learn. Can you
Facts.
explain to me in the simplest of terms what has that temperature swing done to make my corals consume more alkalinity? Calcium and magnesium's gone up as well. And give me more physical growth. I mean, I can see it.
Actually, that is published in a scientific paper as well. So that scientific paper said if you allow the 3 to 5 degree of it's Fahrenheit or Celsius swing, it actually strengthen the immune system of the coral.
Well, that's why I said to you about it, because I had been really struggling to ship corals, okay? And
Ship.
my main reason, ship. Yes.
Shit.
Mhm.
So I
Transport.
yes. Well done. Well done. So I really wanted to try and harden my corals
Mhm, yep.
a wee bit. And you said, try it.
Try
And,
swing.
and it's,
So there is
Harden them.
also is mimicking the ocean as well.
Yep.
In the ocean, the temperature is not rock stable.
No.
It actually day and night swing is natural because in the evening at night the deep water from the ocean rise up with all the plankton. They also bring up colder water.
The dwellings.
So that's the swing is natural for coral. They we actually duplicating that thing at home. So for example, that when you go to bed, at least for me, I like to lower the temperature a little bit to sleep better. But for the scientific study on coral, there definitely that is published result indicating that that temperature swing actually make the immune system stronger for the coral, which means that your coral is more adaptable, more resilient. For matter of fact, that here's an interesting thing. That there's a school of thought that we try to keep something absolutely consistent to baby the coral, to make them more comfortable. But actually, that's not the case for many pets or many evolution. Just look at human. So the slightly harsher environment or changes actually make the species more resilient.
it's one of the best things I think I've tried doing in my time. And it's so simple. Anyone can do it.
To a limit, though, because there's upper limit about the temperature. So, for example, if you have a swing from 22, I really cannot translate the Fahrenheit to Celsius. For example, if you swing from 74 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's healthy swing. But if you swing from 80 to 84, that is a deadly stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the thing that interests me the most about this is the only thing I've ever done since starting reefing that has got me amazing results that's cost me fuck all.
Did Bernadette have a say in this swinging act that you are partaking in?
Pardon?
She loves looking at the reef tank, but wants nothing to do with actually touching it.
And what
Are
about
you the only man in Scotland that has trouble with your tank overheating, as opposed to swinging between 5 and 6 degrees?
swinging?
I don't get.
That's why AC is your best friend. Turn on the AC.
So
wonder how many
I
people
do
go out.
have AC, and I would not be without air conditioning now. I wouldn't. It's an absolute no-brainer.
I'll be interested. To know,
It's all AC in Scotland. That's strange.
I'll be interested to know how many people are going to go out after this live stream swinging.
Well, I mean, I know I am.
Okay.
So actually, the many people's tanks are swinging, but they just didn't realize that. Many hobbyists, yep, they just didn't realize that. They look at the thermostat, say, okay, I set the tank at 78 degree. That is the data they always keep in mind. They think that the tank is stay at 78 degree, but unless you're also using a chiller, your temperature is going to rise above your thermostat normally. During daytime, rise above your thermostat setting for your heater, and drop back to that setting at night, because the heat coming from the light, heat coming from
Yeah.
So you actually have some swing.
Oh,
you,
this is
you encourage swinging, Dong, yeah?
Yeah.
That's-
So encourage swinging. And for example, one interesting thing is that a guy told me that after his vacation, after he get home, all his coral is dead. I said, "Is that well?" Because there were several 90-degree hot day when he was in Florida. I said, "Well, could it be that the house is too hot that your temperature rise up and kill your coral?" He said, "No, I set my heater at 78 degrees before I left. I checked the heater; it's still 78 degrees after I come back. There's no way this temperature can go up." I said, "Oh," I said, "Is that possible that your house get overheated?
Yeah.
Do you have your AC on?" I said, "No, I don't have my AC on, but I set my heater." I said, "Well, you set your heater. Heater only allow your temperature don't fall below that
So,
temperature."
Dong, I have a massive argument with all of my staff every winter.
Uh-huh.
So we have a coffee shop in the garden centre, and there's a thermostat. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, and the temperature, the heating
Don't
comes
touch
on in
the
the morning.
thermostat.
The heating comes on in the morning, and the room starts to warm up. Then the room starts to fill with customers, and the heating switches off. But then the temperature still keeps rising, and the staff get the thermostat and turn it down. Then they come in the morning, and it's minus fucking 5 in my coffee shop, and the customers come in, and they're 98 years old, they've got no circulation, and they're all fucking stuck to the floor like frozen bogies.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't understand what the word thermostat means. They think it's air conditioning, where if you turn it down, it actually cools. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
No,
people
it doesn't.
hobby, they're like, I unplug my heaters in the winter. I unplug my heaters in the summer to save power. It's like,
what?
you don't understand what's working here, do you? Like,
No, you don't.
Unless that your room temperature is relatively stable, I would say unplug the heater. Actually, remove the heater from the tank during summertime, because the longer the freaking thing submerged in the water, the more likely you're gonna fail.
I mean, that's a fair point. That's a fair
Because the heater has this rubber seal. If you have a changeable heater with a dial, that even worse. That rubber seal, when they're exposed to salt water, at least partial of it, they shrink. So that's why heater has a lifespan. So every 2 years, I just replace all my heater regardless, because that once that seal is broken or shrink enough, when the salt water get into the heater, and then you turn it on during the colder months, and then going to fry the whole tank. That's why when fall comes, I will see several cases of this thing. When the heater start to work, and they fry their whole tank. There will also 1 or 2 cases every year. when people just always plug in their heater. During the summer, the heater is not running because the temperature is higher than the set point. And then when the fall comes, when temperature drop, when the heater turns on, they fry their tank because heater already leaking. So if you unplug your heater, I will remove the heater from the tank. And then you put the heater back because that actually prolong the life of the seal, and also it's a much safer practice.
So
another thing,
we're gonna squeeze in one more question, which means one is not gonna. But I'll keep this question for next time, which there will be a next time, Dong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If it's tomorrow, I will be there.
Well, I'm gonna have to do reefing news for you next time. So
okay.
Here is the last question for tonight from a friend of mine called Jason. How do you feel about engineered rock? Do you believe it releases phosphate after time?
I think that depends on who make that engineered rock and what material they're doing. The most important thing is that do they cure it after they make it and before they sell it to you? That process make the day and night difference. Okay, now so think about this way. They all make by the cement. So another thing is that the material to make those engineered rock, they're cheap. And yep. And then, but cure them is the long and expensive process. Because think about this way: you make your rock, if you can sell it tomorrow, your inventory is running. You're making money. Your money is making. But if you have to let the rock sit in a salt water vat for 6 months before you can sell it, that costs you a lot of money.
But even that type of rock we're talking about now, you can't even cure it because it's so dense. It's never going to be live rock. There's no
porosity. Nothing.
Yes. Well, curing only means that get rid of the surface contamination, which make it suitable for the buyer, the consumer, to put in to their tank.
Mm-hmm.
They do not function as a live rock. They do not have the internal structure to house the bacterial that live in those kind of oxygen poor environment. They do not function as a live rock.
So
they do.
Tom would be really good at live rock because he has a bacterial outer surface and inside.
Absolutely.
But those bacteria is not compatible.
Swings.
So engineer rock.
Tom is like 10 tennis courts, right?
So, for matter of fact, one person asked me this question: is that so hobbyists less likely to get COVID because they put their hand in the salt water all the time? Really? I don't have an answer. But seriously, think about it. Is it possible?
Okay.
Yeah, because the salt water kills a lot of bacteria and virus.
You've probably got more danger getting more bacterial viruses from swinging, I would have thought.
Actually, those bacteria how relevant to human infection is a big question. Yeah, so you may not. Yeah, you may not.
That's a bigger question than 11 o'clock at night. That's too long-winded.
So back to the man-made rock. So it does not function as a real live rock, and you put your faith on the manufacturer to cure them or not. So, but unfortunately, they may be the only choice you have because many.
You said earlier, if it's the only choice, it's not as shit. Is that what you said at the light bulbs? If it's
no. The thing is because for example, you cannot even buy here. You cannot even buy the true live rock. They don't, and also unless you want to pay like $25 a pound.
I was going to say over
or for limited amount,
25, 26 pound a kilo. Different metrics and stuff, but similar sort of price. It's fucking expensive.
Yeah, and that's why many people probably the only choice is the engineer rock. So they're still usable. They're still used, but here's a trick. So if you're only talking about small rubbles, small pieces, put them in a toilet bowl. Every time you flush your toilet, you're actually cleaning the rock. Seriously, it works. And keep them in a toilet bowl for at least 1 or 2 months. Then this man-made rock probably then they're ready to go to your reef tank.
Just to make, you mean the toilet cistern, not the bowl? You don't want to piss and shit.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, the toilet, the water reservoir.
Yes.
But you can.
Tom was literally Tom was literally fucking hocking one out on his rockscape as we spoke.
Or actually, in summertime, there's another choice. After you purchase this thing, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, fill with hose it down, and fill with just regular water. Just leave it in the yard. Let them cook for the summer. Yeah, and phosphate definitely is one of the major contamination coming off the man-made rock, because phosphate is one of the additive in cement. So also another thing, avoid those man-made rock that painted purple. That basically render it absolutely useless.
Caribsy.
You seal all the pores that potentially, the whatever leftover pores on those poor rock that can provide any biological function is gone. It's all filled up, all painted. So it is no different than just put your iPhone in your tank. It serves the same biological function.
I feel so strongly about Caribsy rock. I don't actually believe it's fit for purpose. I'm not trying to be funny now. I'm being deadly serious. I don't think that rock is actually fit for purpose for reef tanks. I don't think it is.
Yes.
But you can make your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make your own rock with cement and sand and reef sand, and reef rock rubble. And that you probably make a much better than.
It's still dense and it's still artificial. There's no substitute for the real deal, or
no substitute for the real deal.
The dead real deal. That's the next best thing.
Well, that real deal is the best thing. Actually, the real rock, which is that, probably is a little bit more preferable than the live rock just proved in the ocean.
Yeah, there's no pests involved, right?
Yeah, because you do not want all this mantis shrimp or all this pests coming from the rock. But you do have to seed those rock with just get a few live rock from the fellow reefer, your friend, and that's the best seeding rock. And what I have here is that I have a 120-gallon tank filled with rock rubble that been soaking there for over a decade. So new hobbyists, they will welcome to get a few pieces, or they buy very dirt cheap for those rock rubble to put into their sump. So as a seeding bacterial seed. And for matter of fact, one of the local fish store, they used to, when they still exist before they go bankrupt, and they come here to get the water in that tank, the rock tank. And he told me that water is magical. He used that water to seed his client's tank. It works wonder. Yep.
So that's just bacteria that lives within the water column.
Yep. Yes, the bacteria from the water column. So there's a plenty of bacteria in the water column. For matter of fact, that besides the bacteria on the solid surface, there's a plenty of bacteria, a huge amount of bacteria in the water. For example, that some people call the seawater actually is the dirtiest water in the face of Earth. It just how many billion bacteria in 1 ml of the seawater. Those bacteria actually quite different.
Away from the ocean, so send away an ICP away from the ocean, and then Tom's hot tub. I reckon Tom's hot tub would be
a breeding ground.
I reckon it would look a bit like gravy. A bit like gravy.
Well, they say that they say DOC can turn your water yellow with the white bucket test, don't they? And I wonder.
Yes, that's true. Certain DOC, not all the DOC, because some of the organic compound have contain nitrogen, and they can potentially make the color yellow. But many DOC is totally transparent. For example, let's say sugar. Let's say sugar, and it's a very common DOC in the salt water. That's because that what the symbiosis algae produce, sugar. Then what the algae, macroalgae produce, sugar. They actually leach into the water. So basically, sugar is a very common DOC in a saltwater tank. Are they harmful? Probably not. Coral actually, and lots of microorganisms, including as well as coral, are feeding on those sugars. And many sugar does not turn your color, water color brown, but you can have a huge amount of them, but your water is crystal clear. So this is just one example. And
Dom,
also
Oh no, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say,
no problem.
I saw a video of Tom draining his hot tub from last summer, and what I saw can only be sort of twinned with. Have you seen Kenny Lim's sump? Have you seen that?
No, I didn't see Kenny's sump. So you mean the poto? The pieces of ocean?
Yeah, have a look at his sump and the sludge congregating in the bottom of that. That is the only thing I can twin the video I saw of Tom draining his hot tub last summer. That's kind of the only thing.
Then you should see my sump. Yes, same thing. It's detritus accumulating a huge amount in it. Those are actually a fertile ground for the various bacterials, various life form, cocopods, they're filling the whole biological system. So basically, think about it this way is that many of the organic material in the water are beneficial. And the bacterial, for example, if you want to prevent bacterial growth, you are preventing the bacteria, good or bad bacteria, both. If you want to promote them to grow, you promote them both. So you want to limit DOC to reduce the bacterial count, you are limiting both. It's very difficult to selectively say, I don't want this pathogenic vibrio, and then I'm limiting my DOC. No, it cannot be done like that. It's not. There's no selectivity such as like this kind of thing. You either give them all of them happy, all of them dying. So it's hard to achieve the selectivity. So the way I look at it for DOC, take it easy. Change your water. Water change is the best way to reduce your DOC. You change 20% of water, you reduce 20%. For example, if you want to reduce your not just DOC, nitrate. If you want to do a carbon dosing to reduce your nitrate, how much carbon are you going to dose? Hard to calculate. Even you dose that much of carbon, theoretically, you have a calculation, but then the end result is going to be affected by what kind of bacteria in the water column, what's your temperature, with all this kind of thing. So you cannot precisely reduce, let's say, 20% by carbon dosing. But doing 20% water change, I effectively reduce 20%.
What about
I do a 50% water change.
Not to open a can of worms later on, but what about when we dose like a coagulant, like a calcium carbonate? It's called Blizzard, but it basically to take all that organic stuff out, bind it up, and get skimmed out. Will that remove DOC? Same as water change?
Like a coral snow?
No, it's not the same. First of all, depends on that bottles of the calcium carbonate, the particle size. Different particle size has a selectivity about removing different type of impurity. That's one thing. Second thing, when you're doing the flocculant thing, not only your DOC get attached to that, how much attached to that you do not know. Also, they just act like very fine activated carbon. They have a huge amount of porous surface area. Wiping your trace element, your metal, or some beneficial stuff off is uncontrollable. It's undetermined amount of removal. It's uncontrollable amount of removal. And also that your skimmer is quite selective at all. So your skimmer, depend on your bubble size, you selectively remove different kind of the particle size or the size of the greasy molecule. And most of the flocculant actually does not get removed from your skimmer. They just simply precipitate in your sump and coat your surface. They're still there. So using the calcium carbonate and the flocculant method is the end result you do not know. It's not precise. But when you do water change, 20% water change reduce 20%.
I must admit, I wasn't sure of the benefits of dosing a calcium.
Oh, the flocculant?
Yeah,
okay.
So having done it, the water clarity is beautiful for 2 or 3 days afterwards. It's so much better.
It can also be very good for corals ingesting.
No, not really. Not really.
They do claim it up. They do claim it increases your coral's uptake of nutrient. They do claim that. Yeah.
Absolutely bullshit. That is the biggest bullshit I ever see. That is not true. That is outrageously.
I'll have to stop you there because there was someone more intelligent than you. Someone more intelligent than you told me that is true, and it was Tom.
I understand where that come from because that originally that flocculant calcium carbonate is marketed by a company using claiming to be some sort of nutrient transport.
I'll just read you the last little bit of this, the very last little bit, right? Okay. I won't lie. The product is Reef Sediments Blizzard, right? So they're all the same, but Blizzard purifies the water by removing undesired compounds, leaving the water crystal clear, which it does. It also helps carry nutrients to the corals, aiding in their biological processes, which will increase coral growth rates.
And Tom said that's true. So
actually, the translation is that this product will effectively remove the harmful impurity as well as the necessary trace element and nutrient. No selectivity. And also that the reason we want to tell you that it help the nutrient transport because either we just want to sell you this product and lie about it. Period. It's just impossible.
Okay.
This claim actually borrowed from I see that before on a previous product called the coral snow or some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably where it come from.
But what I will say, observationally, it does make the tank look amazing for 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
So when I have when I have people coming around or guests or whatever, or someone come to film the tank, I will do this.
Right, bingo. So that is benefiting you personally and what you want it to look like. But is it
look like? Yes.
The animals in the tank.
Well, it tells me.
Think about it this way. You can achieve the same effect by grinding down activated carbon into really fine powder and dose it in your tank.
Ooh.
But the end result, think about it, that's exactly the same thing, except this calcium carbonate powder is white.
Yeah.
You don't see it much, even because it's white. You go onto your sand, it's white. It doesn't become an eyesore. Try to imagine use it, grind up activated carbon. That is the entire different story. But on the other hand, it does clear up your water for sure.
Yes.
That because you are basically dosing finely ground down activated carbon. That's the thing. That's what a flocculant is. It has nothing to do with feeding your coral, and it does make the water clear. That's for sure. It basically just all this organic material just bind to it, and then they all actually aggregation. So the very fine calcium carbonate powder, when more and more organic material bind to that particle, it becomes heavier and heavier and heavier, and bigger, and then either they precipitate down or actually ride along with the bubble and come out from the skimmer. That's how it works. So it does not replace water change. And also that long-term use probably is okay because Jake Adams did the experiment. He dosed that every single day when he was in unique coral. He dosed a tank with coral in it every single day with the calcium carbonate powder for a whole full year. No negative benefit for the no negative effect on the coral. Of course, he didn't say anything good about it either. So, but I can guarantee you that it does not fit your coral at all. It's a simple physical phenomena.
So
Like grabbing,
basically.
Yeah. So I won't be.
yeah, that's what the
rebuying this.
flocculent. The thing is that why not just buy very fine calcium carbonate powder on Amazon? They're cheap, and there is a do-it-yourself recipe on Reef to Reef. So you just buy the finely grinded calcium carbonate powder from Amazon, and then you add a scoop into your distilled water, stir it up, and pour it in,
Or also,
and it costs about 1 cent or something like that.
everyone privately messaged Pelagic Swimmer, and he's happy, more than happy to help you. He has told me that if you have any problems, just because he's very good with things like that, Rob is happy to everyone to message him directly, and he's happy to get back.
Yeah, if you want to put his mobile number in the chat, that'd be quite handy.
Just to clear something up, Dong. So I think people are maybe getting the wrong end of the stick in the comments. You're not saying to people that it's a good idea to grind up activated carbon and put it in your tank. You're just saying that is the same effect.
Same effect, yeah. Do not grind up activated carbon. You're
Thank
going to get a mess.
Yes, you are.
In your tank.
And
Yeah.
all of your tanks are going to get major HLLE as well.
Oh my God! And all your hippo tank are going to have problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: does this calcium carbonate powder affect hippo tank or affect your tank? I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. Because it's white powder, so probably it's more pleasing to look at.
I mean, I've had problems with white powder in the past, you know. So.
Listen, I think we're at 3 hours and 20 minutes. I think we're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Dong,
Then I see you on next one.
It has been absolutely amazing. We need to get another Reef AF chat organized with you and do some reef bullshit and
the dippy dong.
The dippy dong. No, thank you so much, everybody in the chat. I'm sorry if I missed anybody there in my hellos and pulling up questions, but the conversation it just finds its tracks and it just plows on. What can I say? Drippy, really, really good to have you back on. Jamie, thank you for coming on again. Tom has said in very, very short answer, I said, "Is there a Sunday stream?" And I got back, yes. I have no other information. Are you on, Drippy?
I am on, unfortunately. I mean, that's decreased the viewing figures somewhat.
Plummeted.
I'm on with Josh and don't know.
Make sure you ask Josh about his mangroves because he's got some new mangroves coming in.
Oh, okay. I will. Okay. Maybe we'll ask Amanda Meckley to come on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I mean, she's here now. So, she can commit to that.
I've never met her, but I just fucking love her. She's great.
She's brilliant, mate.
Corey's going swinging by the looks of it. So
Corey is going swinging, yeah.
Good lad, Corey. I'll see you shortly. Listen, thank you so much, everybody. Again, thank you so much, Dong. I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Have an amazing weekend, everybody.
Cheers, Joey.
Get reefing and go and support your local LFSs. Remember, hit dislike and unsubscribe. Bye, everybody.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.